Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
It is me, Rachel and Lindsay.
We got Jomi Adeniran here with us. One of the number one Dodger fans in the world because we are the champions. Woo! The Dodgers won the World Series. Jomi.
Feel left out. You guys are decked in your Dodger stuff.
Yeah, we wanted to bring on a real Dodgers fan to have the conversation at the top of the show. The rest of the show will probably be depressing, but we start in joy. Jomi, the Dodgers have won the World Series. A quick sports check. Tell people about the Dodgers' road to the World Series and what the whole series was like for you.
I mean, we can just honestly don't have any words. Like when the final out was happened, I fell to my knees. Like I really still can't even get the words out. From the beginning of the year, I fell to my knees in my house.
I love this for you.
Man, nah, how could you not be romantic about baseball? You really got to think. At the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about how the Dodgers, they're for sure going to repeat. It's a lock. Look at these guys. Look who they signed in the offseason. And those guys didn't even play for it. Tanner Scott, terrible. Kirby Yates was not good. Michael Conforto was the worst player in baseball by far, right? And they were legitimately had stretches of terrible baseball. They lost 9 of 11 a couple times, lost 6 in a row. If I could recall correctly, went 0-6 against the Brewers in the regular season.
Tough.
I was at a USC game when Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who we will talk about later, had a what's it called? A
complete game?
No. A no-hitter.
No-hitter.
Through 8 2/3. And the Dodgers lost.
Because the bullpen gave it up.
Let me repeat that. He had a no-hitter through 8 2/3, and the Dodgers lost. And I'm looking at my brother. I'm like, listen, it was a great run. You know, we'll go out sad in the NLDS, but hey, man, we'll always have 2024, right? They enter the postseason as a 3 seed, which means they got to play the wild card, right? Sweep the Reds, but it's the Reds. You're not really for real. Then they got to go on, take out big, bad Philly on the road in Philadelphia, the 2 seed. Go get 2 on the road, get blown out in game 3, and then win a miraculous game in game 4 where the pitcher throws the ball to the backstop where you're not supposed to go. Hae-Sung Kim scores. We're going to play the Brewers, which again, they did not beat.
They're
all
on the road
year.
every series.
They go to the NLCS to play the number 1 seed in all of baseball. All of baseball. And they sweep them.
Yeah. That's what I thought was going to be their best. That's when I tapped in. I thought that was going to be the matchup.
But Rachel, I'm sitting in my crib. We beat the Phillies, who were I always thought was going to be our toughest matchup.
Okay. Not the Brewers. Okay.
Not the Brewers. I was not worried about them dudes. And look, I was vindicated. So I go into the World Series. Speaking, we were talking about Corwick earlier. I was talking cash.
Yeah, you were.
I was talking insane.
You feel like they were unbeatable at this point.
A lot of people were. You were not alone.
I was saying, Dodgers in 5, man.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to see us, bruh. I was on cloud 9. Only for me, not even a week later, we had the crib, down 3-2, going, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Just to let you guys know, okay, so if you guys didn't watch the game, we did an interview here with Roy Wood Jr.
Mm-hmm.
We sent Luis to the World Series. Higher Learning sent Luis to the World Series.
It's amazing, by the way.
Right? We sent Luis to the World Series. When Roy Wood Jr. was here, he said, I actually bought tickets for the wrong game. I meant to buy tickets for game 5. I bought tickets from game 4. The reason why we were going to buy tickets for game 5 is because we thought that was going to be the game that the Dodgers clinched the World Series. Roy Wood said, you should buy tickets for game 5 because the Dodgers win all of the games, right? Because the Dodgers had already won game 3. It was going to be over.
Yeah.
And it was not over.
No.
The Blue Jays they won game 5. They won game 4. They are up 3-2. Prime. Going home.
2 to win 1.
2 to win 1. And the cucking began. And I'm sorry to the Blue Jays fans that are listening to this. It is your team cucked out. And that's just a fucking fact.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
I want to play something for you guys real quick. Donnie, do you have that video I put in the chat?
Biggest moment of my life as a Blue Jays fan.
This is in the top of the 9th.
That ball is hit out to, oh my God. Oh no. That's a home run by Miguel Rojas. That's a home run by Miguel Rojas. That is a home run
Is this
by
live?
the number
Is he doing
9
this live?
hitter, Miguel Rojas.
You know what's crazy?
It's Crody.
That's a Toronto Blue Jays fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Dodgers fan. I had the same exact reaction.
Donnie, keep playing it.
No. 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 No.
No. But here comes the rage. Listen to the rage. The rage is coming. Oh, did I cut it off?
Jeff Hoffman hangs a slider to the number 9 hitter, Miguel Rojas, and we have a tie ball game. This was our biggest fear with Jeff Hoffman. That he could not be trusted.
Yo, I gotta say this, man. This was really just so many things that happened in the game.
Yeah.
So many times that you thought the Dodgers were out of the game, right?
Just incredible. They go down 4-2. Max Muncy hits a solo, obviously Miguel Rojas. And then bottom 9, bases loaded, tie game. It's 1 out. Guys, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers supposed to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
You get the force out of home, which, by the way, Will Smith is like barely on the bag.
Game of inches.
He's got a pinky toe. Gets back on the bag just in time, right? Then the catch in center. First of all,
I want tears.
I might cry. Don't play with me, Rachel.
I want tears.
I'm looking at Kike. I'm like, Kike's not getting that ball. There's no way.
Just
Just
let
make a
everybody know,
basket catch.
The outfield was in because in that situation, if the runner tags at third and the runner scores, the game is over.
No, there was 2 outs.
Well, no, I mean, but they were still.
But the base, how many people were on the bases?
It was still bases loaded
Okay,
because
bases
you
loaded.
had
Well,
force out of home.
Hernandez was still playing.
Yeah, he was
in,
playing.
though.
He was playing in.
Which,
So
to be honest with you, I don't know why. To be honest with you, why was he playing in at that point? There were 2 outs. He should have just been playing.
He should have been playing deep,
at a
right?
normal depth.
But I think it's like it was also like in the gap. Because that's why Paz, which by the way, and we'll talk about this later.
In the gap doesn't fucking matter if this guy on third. If the ball gets down, it's
over. Right. That's the point.
He should be running on it's 2 outs. He should be running on contact. Yeah.
Don't disagree. Kike's like if he's gonna make it a back shoulder catch, which if he makes it is great, but like likelihood of doing that is impossible. Paz has to come, who by the way got subbed in, I think maybe like a couple plays earlier by Dave Roberts, who we will talk about glowingly, I'm sure later. Paz has to come farther than Kike and then has to moss him to make the catch. And you're sitting there like, there's no way we're going to extras right now. Kike is on the floor because he thinks, oh, we lost. Like the season's over. Turns out he's like, yo, Paz like, yo, I got it. Let's go. He gets up. We're all happy. And we're going to extras. Unbelievably.
And so when I finally looked at it, I thought he was hurt, but no, he was down because he thought they had given up the World Series. Paez catches the ball, and then you get also for that same feed. We're not gonna play it again because we're gonna leave the Toronto fans alone. But I'll tell the Toronto fans something real quick. Y'all talking cash money shit, all right? And y'all were making it about stuff, and y'all were talking cash money shit. Go ahead and get some of that now. I feel really bad for the Blue Jays fans. I have to be honest with you. I feel really.
Why do you feel bad though?
Because as a sports fan, it's a
little bit of empathy.
It's a tough loss.
But this is how I know you don't really be on your shit like that.
For baseball? For sure.
As a sports fan, just having been here before in a game where you really feel like you have everything in front of you to win. Maybe you even feel like you have the better team. And this type of gut-wrenching loss, I do feel for them.
No, it's not me not being on my shit. I'm just a competitor. I actually don't feel anything for them. Wow. And I don't even watch the game. I watch.
Competitor.
Rachel competes.
I'm a competitor.
You've
part of the game.
But you've never felt bad as a competitor. You've never felt bad for the team. If you see them crying, they fucking mama crying and all this shit.
Not once.
Jesus.
Wow.
That I can remember that I feel bad for the team that lost. As an outsider, right, who doesn't have an allegiance to any team, I thought it was so fun. I know it was for you. It's are we going to get it? Are we not? But 7 games extra innings.
In
I mean,
retrospect,
for you to win, yes. For you to win on
Yeah.
that, yes, in retrospect. But to watch it,
Rachel,
that's the kind of World Series. I'm not into baseball. That is the kind of World Series that I want to see.
Van knows this, but I'm not a fun person to watch high leverage
The
sports
worst.
with.
No.
I am not a fun person.
I'm definitely not.
At least you know that about
I
yourself.
won't even watch. Like if it gets too much anxiety, I'll change the station. Jomi,
Remember?
yeah, I watched the whole LSU Clemson game, turned away from it, just couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
And Jomi is different. Jomi will watch and be the most nervous, annoying. Like Jomi, sit the fuck down.
I'm more like that.
Like Jomi, fucking relax.
Remember-
If it's LSU, I almost have to spare myself at points. I can't watch.
Remember the Laker game, Game 6 against the Warriors?
Oh, this is bad. We went to the game.
Oh, you went to the game.
We were at the game. We went to the game. We're in the suite.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is chilling. We having fun. It's a different situation. When you're in the suite, there's a lot. Y'all know when you're in the suite and you're watching the game, you are watching the game, but there's also a lot of socializing.
No, yeah,
on.
you're not. Most people are not watching the game in the suite.
Yeah.
Right. The game is on. And there's a lot of socializing. You talking, it's food. There's a lot of stuff. Everybody is having a fun time. Jomi is in the first row of the suite, locked in. The entire time, everybody else is having fun. Like, Jomi, you want to meet people? None of this stuff.
Important context. This is Game 6, 2023, Lakers Warriors. You told me this in like the first quarter. The Warriors don't have it. It's all Lakers. And the Lakers were up like what? 10 for like the entirety of the second half. And I'm sitting in the chair. I'm not smiling. I'm not laughing. I'm locked in.
He had no fun. It was almost to a point to where it was like, hey, man, I don't know if Jomi's the right nigga to bring to the game no more when we in the suite. Because it's like he had zero fun. And I get it, but he had zero fun. I'm like, it's like they up. I'm like, Jomi.
You were embarrassed?
It's like, no, not embarrassed, but it was like, the nigga was kind of scaring the hoes a little bit. and by the way, we weren't on that. Kalika's there. So like, we're not on, it's not that type of situation. I mean, scaring the hoes and the hoes being a fun time in the crypto. They're up some points, and it's like,
they're not like
2 or 3 minutes
the
left.
Lakers are going to win this game.
I'm like, Jomi, this fucking basketball game is over. Okay, the game is over. He's like, it's not over.
There's a lot of game left.
There's a lot of game left. I'm like, Jomi, have a hamburger. The game is over. The dessert card is here.
Yeah.
I don't want any dessert.
Bring it back to the Dodgers. My homie called me on Saturday. He texted. I didn't respond to text. I was locked in. It's locked in on Saturday. I went to the gym. Got a great workout in. Right? Got some Japanese food because I was like, shout out my homies. We gonna support. Let's get this dub today. You know what I mean? My homie calls me. He's like, yo, I texted you, man. I want to come over, watch the game. Where you gonna be at? I was like, I'm at the crib. She's like, let me come through. And I said, yo, Shaitan, man. That's my boy Shaitan. Shout out. Last time you came over was last year, the World Series Game 4. Dodgers went to clinch. They lost. Stay home.
You can't come over.
Can't come over. Stay home, man. I'm gonna watch it at my crib. You watching it at your crib.
Good that you know that.
And we gonna see what happens. But last time we came over, they lost. We not really gonna tempt fate like that.
Have you been to the World Series?
No, I can't. I can't. That's not really my speed. I like to be at the crib because again, sometimes they do stinking it. I remember in 2010 when the Lakers played the Celtics, that game 7, they were down like 13 in the third quarter, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna watch Man vs. Food. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put that on Travel Channel, 242 if I recall correctly. I got it. That's for y'all. I will not be there. I just don't have it in me.
And then that was in the third quarter.
That was in the third quarter. The Lakers came back, and then you put the game back on. And
you would hate me being there. I'm an experienced person. I love the experience. Did I tell you I was at Game 1 of the World Series last year, and I left? This is the first time I'm gonna say this publicly. I left because I was trying to beat the traffic.
See,
when Freddie Freeman hit the home run.
See now.
So I heard it in the lot.
Why do you say things?
Why would you say that? Why would
because
I heard it in the lot.
Because we have this conversation about your sports fandom.
I would have not. How was I supposed to know?
Rachel,
that was gonna happen.
Rachel,
I know. I missed.
Rachel, why do you say stuff like that? Why do you do stuff like that?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
Rach, no.
You just keep telling on yourself over and over and over again.
I am not a baseball fan. I'm never going to pretend like I am. The game is too long for me.
They got the pitch clock for
it
you
doesn't
now.
help. The game is too long for me. It's just not my thing. I like going to games. I
Right.
love a baseball experience.
vibe.
I think it's so. I love the
Have a
vibe
hot dog.
You like a beer?
so much. I
Beer.
love a beer. I love a
Yeah.
hot dog. I love the 7th inning stretch. I
Right.
love to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball." I love the whole baseball
You like a
experience.
baseball, you like it.
You like
But
it.
I'm never going to be at home watching it a game.
You
You left the
Season's
World
too
Series
long.
early. You don't
can't
leave the
you
World
can't leave
Series
the
early.
Game
One
You
Mr.
can't.
Bill Simmons stayed at a game
Oh,
that
yeah.
I
was
saw.
18 innings long.
I saw him.
Bill was almost
I saw
on the
him.
fucking field. Bill could have
He was
Bill
right
could have
there.
fielded the ball. See, that's the type of shit. See,
But
Bill
if
is
them-
always doing that, by the way. Bill goes to a game and he knows what people are, and then it's like, when I saw them pictures of him basically being on the field,
Shohei was right there.
I
I
was
was
about
like,
to be like, they about to get on Bill ass.
that's different.
Yeah,
That's different.
They
Hey,
about
man.
to get on Bill ass, man. That's as we just talked about going to a suite to see the game.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I want to address this. I want to make sure that like we are all here together.
Give him a final. Give me something in final. Give him a parting shot, Jomi.
People are gonna sit here and tell you that the Dodgers ruined baseball.
Wow.
That's not true.
Why would they say that?
It's all because the Dodgers have the highest payroll
Okay, gotcha.
It's a whole baseball
in
economics
baseball.
thing.
Nobody wants to talk about that the Toronto Blue Jays have the 5th highest payroll
Oh,
in baseball. The Mets have the 2nd highest payroll in baseball. Didn't make the postseason. You know, it's not all about the money. Sometimes we just make the plays. Sometimes we just got the dogs. Last year, it was our bullpen that made all the difference. This year, it was the starting pitching.
Mhm.
Right now, you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, the Dodgers had Shohei go on Saturday. They had Yosh, the MVP. And I'll tell you this right now. He was better than Madison Bumgarner in 2014. I'm putting it on my life right now.
Jomi talking inside
on
deep
wax,
baseball stuff.
right? Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell go all on Saturday. That's like $1.something billion in pitching going
Jeez.
on the mound on Saturday. I don't care. I don't care. Just because y'all broke, y'all ain't got no
Lord,
bag.
God damn, this
Y'all
economy.
don't want to spend no money,
in this economy,
and you
Jomi?
want to be mad at me? No, we're not doing that.
In this economy,
Man,
Jesus
we're not
Christ.
doing that.
Wow.
All these billionaires
Mm.
can't afford to keep their players, and it's my fault that my team wants to win.
Talk to him.
I
Y'all
like
made
it.
fun of us in 2017 and 2018 for choking.
Okay.
We got it in 2020. Y'all said it was fake.
Oh,
Now
wow.
we up. We heard the noise. And we said, all right, we coming for y'all. Now it's a problem that we stacking this bread and getting these chips.
Let them know.
No. It was cash before.
Talk your shit.
Chill out. Let us get ours.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right? Y'all got fat while we starved in the streets.
Oh,
Now it's our turn.
Jomi.
Come on now.
You guys, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back and get into some of the other stuff. Go Dodgers! Parades today in LA. Go Dodgers!
Go Dodgers! Vamos!
Now let's jump into politics. Now that the joy is done, let's get back to the real world. Donnie?
Yeah, the Trump administration today was a deadline that they were facing to update a federal judge who had ruled last week that the Agriculture Department must disperse SNAP benefits. The deadline comes as more than 40 million Americans continue to go without their benefits. And as of an hour ago, the deadline passed. There's been an update. Trump administration says today that they will partially fund SNAP benefits. They said that it will provide details to the states at some point today, calculating exactly the per household partial benefit. The process of loading the SNAP cards is going to take steps by state and federal government agencies and vendors. It could take up to 2 weeks in some states, but the USDA has warned in a court filing that it could take weeks or possibly even months for states to make all the system changes to send out those reduced benefits. So things are in flux.
So wait, Donnie, just to be clear, because this is, I guess, breaking news for us. They just, as we're recording this on Monday at 10:45 a.m. Pacific time, they just decided an hour ago that they are going to follow what the courts have said.
Partially.
Okay, so they didn't file a response, but it's a partial funding, and it might be weeks or months before they even get it. So they're not even going to get their full benefits.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be partial. Okay.
Let's get into a little general education about SNAP.
Go for it.
All right. First of all, I would like to thank DeRay McKelson and all the people over at Campaign Zero for giving us some education on SNAP. But I don't think sometimes people understand just what do you mean?
No, yeah, keep going. No, you're right.
That people understand what a wide-ranging program SNAP is and how efficient of a program that it actually is.
Even politicians don't understand it. Don't even understand it.
And I think sometimes miseducation on SNAP is indicative of a larger sort of a blind eye that gets turned on the actual working poor of America. And not necessarily the working poor all the time are people on SNAP. There's a huge percentage of people in the country that at some point are going to be on SNAP or use SNAP benefits. It's a large percentage of people.
I mean, the way things are headed, that's absolutely going to be the
case.
No.
That's already true now.
No. I know it's true now, but as we continue, I think people don't realize they are closer to SNAP more than they think.
No, it's right there. It's like you think you're one of them, but really you're not. Okay, SNAP is the second largest anti-poverty program for the non-elderly in the U.S. Generally, anyone at or below 130% of the federal poverty level is eligible for SNAP. Approximately 42 million Americans, 1 in 10 people, rely on SNAP benefits, an annual cost of around $113 billion. This is another key point that I'm going to read off for you guys at the end here. Before I even get into it, I'm going to ask questions. Donnie, you probably looked at the document. What do you think, or how much do you think the average SNAP recipient gets per month for food?
It's under $200. I know that.
It's $157 per month. The average SNAP recipient. That's $1.74 per meal.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that important? Because there is a group of people and a political thinking out there that paints the picture of large swaths of people who are going to the casino using EBT cards, buying Ferraris. They're going to see the game. They're hanging out. They're slanging EBT cards on the side. That they're abusing SNAP, number one. And then there's another picture that's painted of people who are completely funding their entire lives on SNAP using EBT cards.
That's something that you really need to specify as well. There's within that same group of people that you're talking about that are putting out all this misinformation about what you use, how SNAP is used, it's also what it's used for. Newsmax, there was a viral clip going around that where the anchor was saying, oh, so you can't get your nails done, you can't get your weave done. That is not what SNAP is for. It is for food. You're not even supposed to buy alcohol with SNAP. Like, it's for food. It's for your fruits, your vegetables, your meats, your dairies, to supplement your groceries, supplement your household with necessary food items. People aren't using it to do for hobbies, which is another thing that is a good distinction to make.
And when you're asking us right now, how is there definitive education and information on what people are using SNAP for and how they're using it? The program is very efficient, has been around for a long time, and we can look into the numbers surrounding SNAP and tell you exactly even the amount of fraud that exists in SNAP. The vast majority of errors in this program happen because people don't fill out the paperwork right. The fraud rate on this is very low. And one of the reasons why the fraud rate on improper benefit use of SNAP, improper recipient use of SNAP, improper, there's sometimes stores can be guilty of the fraud. They call it trafficking. One reason why that is less prevalent than people would make you believe that it is because the states are held responsible for that. The states have to respond to an inspector general who then looks into how they are like administering the benefits. And if there is too much fraud, there's oversight there, and the states can be fined for the amount of fraud that goes into their SNAP infrastructure. So there is, of course, with any program, things that fall through the cracks, but this one is one that is working, and it works to feed Americans. Now, food banks, if people think that food banks are an adequate substitution for SNAP, again, reductions in SNAP, this was from the Big Beautiful Bill, could eliminate the equivalent of 6 to 9 billion meals annually. So think about that. Before we're even talking about the government shutdown, we're talking about the Big Beautiful Bill and changes that they made to SNAP that would take away, at a conservative estimate, 6 billion meals. 6 billion meals. For context, the entire Feeding America network, which includes more than 200 food banks and 60,000 faith-based and charitable partners, distributed 6 billion meals last year. These numbers were based solely on the program cuts from this past summer's Big Beautiful Bill, not a complete program funding freeze like what will begin in November and impact every single enrollee. So, food banks are fantastic. Give out a lot of meals, a lot of stuff, but this program is so wide-reaching and it's so far-reaching that people are going to go hungry in a very direct way if, in fact, SNAP is gutted by the Big Beautiful Bill, or if it completely goes away during the government shutdown.
I'm mortified by this. I mean, I to be honest with you, Van, and I love the breakdown and keep going. What I was gonna say is, I don't even think it's necessary to fully have to say what SNAP is to understand that people are going to go hungry. And that's really all you need to know. But I appreciate us getting rid of some of this misinformation and letting people know exactly what SNAP is for, how rare fraud is, and who it benefits, and how it truly is a supplemental program and not something that people can fully take advantage of, which is what some of the rhetoric is out there from people who are against it. But at the end of the day, people are having to choose whether or not they feed their families or they pay a certain bill. Those are the choices that people are being faced with at the beginning of this month. To me, that is all you need to know to be totally disgusted and mortified at what's happening. But at Higher Learning, we do provide the background information, and we should. No, it's important.
I think it's important to understand this, that all of this stuff is, I want you to think about when we're talking about people who are under-resourced, the decisions that they have to make.
Correct.
Right? So let's take food banks, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this very clearly. Food banks are a fantastic resource for people. And the people that are working at food banks right now need your help. Yes, you can go to the grocery store, buy a whole bunch of food, and then take them to food banks. Mm-hmm. That is very helpful. But the best thing you can do right now is just to give cash to the food banks. So if you have extra, yes, and I know that not everybody does, but if you have extra, whatever your local food bank is, just throw them some cash. Think about what $200 gets you. Probably should get you more than what it gets you right now. But think about what $300 gets you. Think about what $10 gets you. Remember, if everybody that listens to this podcast, we're one of the biggest podcasts in the whole world, probably top 5 podcasts ever existed in terms of audience. We are probably the largest, we the biggest, we the largest ever. I speak it into existence. But if it was $2, if it was $3, the collective right there would really help food banks be able to get a lot of food out to people, or have enough food for the demand in case the wrong thing happens with SNAP. But think about something real quick. A food bank is a place where you have to go, which means you have to do what?
Which means you have to do what? To go
You have to. A food bank is a place that you have to go. That means you have to do what? Donnie?
Travel to the place.
You have to travel. You have to drive.
Right.
Now, there are some places, bigger cities, New York, Chicago, LA, where public transportation might be such that you can get to the place. But then there are also other rural areas where that is not the case.
Right.
where you are going to have a car, get into a car, go to a food bank, which means then that you have to do what? Put gas in that car. So you have to put gas in that car. First of all, you have to have the car, or you have to get a ride from someone. You have to put gas in that car. Then, so you have to pay for the gas, or you have to consider the gas that you're going to the food bank and gas that you're going to use other places. So your resources, which are already very tightly budgeted and very finite, are being stretched because of the decision to eat food.
And let me add one more thing to that. I'm assuming the food bank might not be as close as the grocery store that you used to go to. So now you have to take time away from, maybe it's something else that you have to do. Maybe it's a job to go travel to wherever this food bank is. So now you're taking away from possibly work, having to maybe figure out how you're going to care for your children if you have to spend extra time going to do that. There's a number of factors.
A whole bunch of factors. We could talk about this as it relates to so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
If we were talking about voter ID laws and why voter ID laws need to be inclusive in terms of lower income populations, it's because in lower income populations, you see different forms of ID that people have, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see more expired licenses. You see people who don't have cars, so they have driver's licenses less.
Mm-hmm.
You see all kinds of different things that when we're talking about these grand sweeping ideas of what someone should have, there's just a group of Americans that we do not consider. And one reason why we don't consider those group of Americans is because we are told that those group of Americans are losers in the game of capitalism, and that their needs and who they are really don't reflect who we are as a country or what we should care about. They should be doing better. So when the dysfunction comes along and they starve, we don't really give a fuck about it. But the reality is there are so many people that at some point need SNAP benefits. There are so many people that at some point need help in a country where they are made intentionally poor, where the taxing system has become more regressive, where resources have been sucked out of these places, where there is underinvestment, where they are actually fighting a game against a steroid-filled system of gangster capitalism and American oligarchy that's not fair in the first place, and they just want to eat, and they need a little help. So the important thing is during this shutdown, which is happening for all kinds of political reasons, some people may agree with, some people don't agree with, that we don't lose sight of the fact that we're, number one, going to have to feed people in the interim if the Trump administration has its way. And then number two, what the big beautiful bill has already done to SNAP, already done. Just so you guys know, there's a 20-hour work week requirement in SNAP. The BBB changes a lot of the exemptions that go into it, right? Some people that are exempt from that work requirement: pregnant mothers, children, the elderly. The BBB raised the age range from 55 to 65. They removed veterans, homeless people, parents of dependents over 14, and former foster care youth older than 18 but younger than 24 from the list of people that are exempt from the work requirements. Honestly, if I was going to make a political issue of that, because I'm looking at it and some of these people that were removed, they just don't care about, right? They don't care about homeless
people.
They don't care about the parents of dependents over the 14. They don't care about the elderly. But just the decision, and I haven't heard a lot of people, a lot of Democrats bring this up, and maybe I'm ignorant to this. But just the decision to remove veterans, just the decision to remove veterans from that, to me, is profound. Like, if you love the military as much as people say that they do, as much as the right, as much as the conservative party, the conservative movement, should I say, says that they do. If you love the military that much, why would you make it harder for veterans to eat?
No, you're making all the sense in the world. I mean, we know Trump doesn't really care about the military. He has said so. Of course, he has taken that back. So that doesn't necessarily shock me. I guess for me, And we talked about this, we teased this a little bit last week when we talked about it. This goes in line with what they want to do with Project 2025. I mean, the big beautiful bill is a part of that, but they want to, well, one, they want to use this shutdown as leverage to reshape federal agencies and policy, and that includes government assistance programs like SNAP. They don't care. They don't care because they're so far removed from it, who it's impacting, who it's affecting. They just don't. Or you have politicians who are completely ignorant, not realizing that their very own constituents are impacted by this. They use these programs because in their mind, people are lazy and they just need to get out and work. And they're not realizing that this is continuing to burden the working class. These people are working and their rent is half of the money. They're working 8 12-hour days. Their rent is half of the money they're bringing in. Then they have to provide groceries. Then they have to take care of their children. Then they have to provide basic necessities of utilities. They have to use gas. All these things just to survive. And at the end of the day, they have nothing left over. Nothing. This is to help them because costs are so much. And they just don't realize that all they're trying to do is shift things that widen the gap and benefit them over the American people. It's party over people. It's policy over people. It's politics over people. It's privilege over people. That's really their new thing.
New, old, same as before.
Yeah.
And you know what another thing is? It's like, when you talk about working people, you could raise the minimum wage. You could raise the minimum wage. I mean, when we talk about the way people have abandoned working people in this country, and we can move on to Trump's 60 Minutes interview and not belabor this, but when we talk about the way people have abandoned working people in this country, it has been a multi-front war. It's been a war on the side of consolidating wealth at the top. Obviously, it's been a war on the infrastructure, the manufacturing jobs, the American dream in a lot of fundamental ways, like what you can attain as an average American. It's been a war on all of that, and it's been a war that's been purposefully waged so that our country can become an entire nation based around financial speculation that is a game for the hyper rich and the ultra wealthy, right? If you don't really make anything, and the life of the average working American is not a part of the calculation about whether or not you have a functioning society, then eventually you come to a situation where there is no consideration for those people as even consumers. We've talked about this before. If you were working in the car plant back in the day, the goal was you should be able to afford the car that you're making.
Sure.
Right? The goal was that you should be able to afford the tires that you're making in the tire plant. Whatever it is, we could talk about many different industries and all of that stuff. But those jobs move away, right? They're not in America anymore. You don't really give a fuck what people can buy or what they can afford. Like, what you actually care about is that they don't make enough noise to shed light on the fact that this country is rolled up. They're betting on the fact that you can pay your mortgage. They roll up all your mortgages into securities, and they play around with that. They're betting with your 401k. They're betting. They're playing with all of the money and really transferring it to each other. What about you? Then on top of that, when they run out of money to play with, they go, we need more. So the stuff that we had there, any type of social safety net, we're going to take a little bit from that, cut the taxes to make sure the guys that we want to win have the opportunity to win. This is not gloom and doom. This is what's been happening.
Right.
And the reality is that there's an unwillingness to speak to this and to talk about this because the people that are in this position where they actually need help don't have any real power. There is no one that really speaks to them or for them.
Well, they thought that there was. I'm watching videos of people crying over the fact that they don't have Medicaid, that they don't know how they're going to pay their next bills, that they don't know how they're going to feed their families, and then they're saying they voted for Trump. These people voted for Trump because they did not like the economy. They did not like Biden. They felt like Trump was speaking on behalf of them. Trump was working for them. They weren't paying attention to what Trump was really saying. They weren't paying attention, obviously, a lot of people weren't, to Project 2025 and the things that he wanted to implement that were going to directly impact them. Why? Because you have your politicians telling you, oh, like a Tommy Tuberville, this is going to affect the inner city. No, it is going to affect at least 15% of the people in your state that are on SNAP. These people who voted I know some people are ignorant to it, but there are people who voted who understood some of this stuff that was going to happen, but they didn't think that it was going to happen to him. Because what that party does is separate white people or inner city people, well, white people, suburban people, rural people from inner city Black and brown people. And it makes you think, I understand these things are going to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen to us. Really what it comes down to is you voted that way, not because you didn't think it was going to happen, because you didn't think it was going to happen to you. You allowed them to lie to you and tell you that you're different from the inner city, from Black and brown people, and those policies will be implemented, but you will be saved in all of that. And then the reality is, no, it is affecting you because you are on the same benefits that some of these other people are. And at the end of the day, it's not just the politicians, it's the people. People need to understand exactly what it is that they're voting for, who they're voting for, and how it directly impacts them. And I hope that they're realizing it now more than they did ever before. But people have to stop voting for just themselves and realizing that the policy will affect you too. I really think that they bought into that lie. I really think people were okay with this happening. They thought that it wasn't going to happen to them. You don't think so?
I think I disagree. I'm not. I do. I think you're right. But let me tell you why I am convinced that this needs to be. First of all, I don't disagree. You're right. But let me tell you why I think we need to go, or we need to start penetrating a little bit deeper there.
Okay.
Oh, Danny. Let me tell you why. Okay. So we are dealing with a low information voter problem.
Yes. Which is how they want it.
We are dealing with people who don't understand, in a lot of cases, the impact on their lives that some of these policy decisions will have. That's true. They are being made that way purposefully.
Correct.
So the battle that to me, the average person is fighting right now against misinformation and disinformation is Herculean. It's a gigantic, huge battle. And if we look at a couple of things that have happened, number one, the deterioration of the educational system, the rise of social media,
the lack of verification,
the lack of verification, the intentionality of keeping people low information, and the fear that goes along with scarcity. There is, to me, there's a greater problem. And the greater problem to me is not that the people themselves are falling victim to being misled. The greater problem is that there is a tremendous incentive by powerful people to mislead them. And so to me, I could make an argument that a lot of what I'm talking about doesn't have very much to do with party. I can make an argument that the Democrats have forfeited their role in American politics as being the party of the working people. That this corporate capture that I'm talking about exists everywhere. That it's not just the the far right or the Republicans or the MAGA Republicans that have fallen victim to being captured by a corporate class.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's not just them that have abandoned working people. It's not just them. That it's the American political infrastructure itself that has done that.
Sure.
And that there have been mistakes made from presidents and local leaders on both sides of the aisle. And that if there was really a focus on working people or a focus on protecting working people, protecting Black people, then there would have been different decisions made all over the place, right? And the reason why that's important to say is because it's very easy right now, in my opinion, not wrong, but it's very easy right now to look at somebody and to say, you should know better. Like, it is. It's very easy to say that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't say it.
That's not what I mean, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't say it. What I'm saying right now, though, is that they don't. You know what I mean? And
you're not wrong.
And if they're going to be immiserated by someone who lies to them, who whips them up, there is definitely an amount of personal responsibility. That's why I gotta call out one thing. And I've been on this train before too. There's something that happens, and it is funny, but it's also not funny. And I smile even in thinking of it because it is funny that when people do it. So whenever something happens and a Trump administration policy comes out, it's involving Latino people.
I already know what you're going to say.
Okay. They will show the Latino person that has been wronged.
And then they will play.
The next slide will be, I will vote for Donald Trump.
The song.
Okay. And first of all, that song is ridiculous. All right. That song is ridiculous. And that song, the back-to-back of see? But this is the thing. It is the back-to-back of like a guy with an accent or whatever saying this happened to me. And then a slide where it's I will vote for Donald Trump it's jarring because it's like, listen, this is how you got played. That is true. I understand that. But at the same time, I do think that we're past it now.
Okay. I hope we are past it. You are correct. I don't disagree with anything you said. The only thing I will say is you're right. Because even it was something that we put in our group chat where you have these fake videos out here right now about outrage of Black women that they're using right now on AI with like 10 kids jumping behind them that don't even look like them. And they're, like screaming about having multiple baby daddies and how are they going to pay for it? And it's fake. But you have people actually with platforms reacting to fake videos.
Right.
So you're right. That is so hard to compete with. What also is hard to compete with, which I'm not saying you should know better. It's fighting people's desire to climb the social caste system that exists within our country. It's a hierarchy that it is hard to combat, that there are people, no matter how poor, how desperate they are, they thrive on, at least I'm better than them. And it's what politicians, I feel like, do is play into that mentality of, I might be on Snap and you might be on Snap, but you're lazy and you're not working. At least I'm working. You're using it for your nails and your weave. I'm using it to provide for my family. I'm trying to dig myself out of this hole and achieve the American dream. You're a burden on the system and you're taking advantage of it, playing into that. So I'm better than you. That's where I don't excuse. And I think a lot of that exists without realizing, hey, we're both struggling. We're both in the working class. We're lower income. We need this assistance. We need the government to work and represent us on behalf of us so, we can just survive, right? Not struggle check to check. Instead, you have people separating themselves to try to one up, to try to be better, because that makes them feel better about their place in this society.
Why?
By standing on someone and putting them down.
Why do you think they do that?
It's the social caste system.
But why would someone, like, think about this. Why would someone risk immiserating themselves to uphold a social caste system that doesn't benefit them? Why would they do that?
For favor? I think people just have it. It is inherently within people to want to be better than other people. It makes them feel more powerful. It makes them feel like they're in a better situated in society. It's a myth, obviously, but I just think knowing that it goes back to the Latino example that you're saying. Those things directly impacted them, but they felt that they were at least better than another group of people. I don't know what to call it. I don't know the exact answer that you're saying.
First of all, you're right. But I guess my question is, what would make that a thing? And if you say that it's inherent in people to want to be better than other people,
I do.
I actually disagree with that.
Okay.
Right? So I think cooperation between people is inherent. I think that there's always been
if history has predictive value, that's what we've always seen. Is somebody putting one group of people down in order to better themselves up. It's why you have a crab mentality. It's why you have people who pull the ladder up from behind them. I mean, look at fucking J.D. Vance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the very system you grew up on, you are trying to diminish.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's people don't like being better than other people. I do think that I'm not saying everybody plays into that,
right,
but I do think that is inherently within us.
I think that that's a direct response to capitalism.
Sure.
I think a system of winners or losers makes you want to be one of the winners. I think even slavery and the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery in America, all over the world is directly. I think all of this stuff is directly linked to competition for resources. And competition for resources means, okay, so how are we going to get to where we're going? Number one, all right, we've exhausted the resources where we're here. Let's go to another place where people don't understand the warlike way of life that we live. Let's go over there and let's exploit them for resources. All right, now, as we exploit them for resources, we're Portuguese. We have to exploit them for resources better than Spain does. Right, we have to keep Spain. Okay, now here come the French. The French want to get in on some of this. All right, now who has the best way to exploit these native people? Okay, cool. Now how can we work faster? Oh, we can work faster if we don't have to pay people. All right, so what do? We then go get slaves to get the bananas, the rice, the indigo, all of that. It's cheaper, it's better. Now how do we keep the mechanism of slavery and the American system going? How do we establish a baseline for what an American citizen really is? Well, we have to have a group of people that you don't have to care about. So in order to keep them enslaved, we have to then sell you on the religion that you don't have to care about them. Nigger. Nigger is what they are. And what don't you have to care about? A nigger. You don't have to care about a nigger. You don't have to care about a nigger's kids. You don't have to care about a nigger's grandmother. You don't have to care about anything that happens to a nigger. Why? We need niggers in the field. Okay, after the niggers are gone, us actually having a reconciliation with with ourselves will be giving them full citizenship. Well, we can't do that. We can't do that because we still need an example in America on what not to be. Why? Because the resources here are finite, and we already decided we don't want a nigger to have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So since the resources are finite, or at least we think that they are, we don't want a nigger to have nothing. Let's make sure the rest of the world knows that it is better off living in a country where you have something and a nigger doesn't. That is the white male orthodoxy that exists and has existed for America since inception.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, a critique of that definitely includes the people that believe in it. Of course. It definitely includes the people that believe in it. But my primary critique is the people that propagate it over and over and over and over again, and the people that fall through the cracks between it. And that's always going to be power. It's always going to be the people that say, hey, I know what it would take to feed people, but rather than feed them, I'll arrange them in a death match and a grudge match between each other. And then they will both not realize that they're eating the same gruel.
Yeah.
And those people have an intentionality, particularly in this situation right here, where so many of the people here are undereducated and are worshiping at the altar of what it is that we're talking about. And this is not, by the way, some some hyper-humanist view of the world that doesn't include a disdain and me despising racism or me despising classism. To me, after a while, it just becomes an accurate way to diagnose this problem and get to an end of it, because I can't change people's hearts and minds. The tradition of racism that has existed in them since time immemorial, I can't get to the middle of their heart. But I can say to them that you will be poor too, that you will starve too.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to say that there is somebody who benefits from you starving. And so that right there, I'm still formulating, and we can have this conversation in a grander way, and we can play the Trump clip too. I'm still formulating a way to make that less about the things that trigger me personally and more about a critique of the system that
You're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong. We're both, I think, saying the same things. The system is playing into the very thing that I am talking about. And until people realize well, one, till power actually starts helping people, but also people realizing, hey, we're all just fighting to survive. It's not me over you, you over me. We're all trying to work just so we can, find our place and have the things we need within this country. It's both. Both have to work together.
Give me an example of this.
Yeah.
Donnie, listen to this. This is, Trump was on 60 Minutes. This Trump clip is what I'm talking about. Donnie, play it.
I mean, I could go point. These
Can I
are
ask
not
you about the
80-20.
economy?
These are 99-1 issues. And they don't change. I just watched this morning a
Mr.
show
President,
where...
can I ask you about the economy?
Just one thing. I watched a show this morning where a very well-known Democrat congressman was fighting like hell for men playing in women's sports. They don't change.
See?
They
Who
don't
was
learn.
that?
I don't want to tell you. You'll be able to check it. Just check your local TV.
Okay. On the economy.
Now, in any functional democracy, that would be a let them eat cake moment. Like, seriously, in any actual, honest, functional democracy, that would be a let them eat cake moment. Mr. President, the economy. Can we talk about the economy? Let's not talk about the economy. Let's talk about the fact that there is a well-known, unnamed, anonymous, I guess, Democrat that he didn't want to actually name that is talking about the trans issue as far as men playing women's sports. So let's not talk about a legitimate issue about rising grocery prices,
Right.
about a different economy for the rich and the average working American. Let's talk about the culture war issue that can whip people up,
Right.
and not about their needs. In any functional,
Right.
intelligent democracy, that would be, well, this guy clearly doesn't give a fuck about the fact that things are tough for us.
Yeah, and he's also making it seem like in that clip, the Democrats don't care about what's happening. They're more focused on transgender rights than they are the economy.
So it's kind of what I'm talking about. Now, you might there's also a retort to this, and I can hear you guys. That says, Van, people actually are moved by that. And you're right. You're right. People are actually moved by that. People are still being moved by culture war issues that want to cast trans people, Black people, Latino people, a lot of people that are not a part of the straight white male orthodoxy. They want to cast them in a way that makes them seem like goons and ghouls and people that are trying to steal their version of America.
Sure.
That is true. And those people do buy into that. I guess what I'm saying is now that this is being done purposefully. It's being done for a long time. It's, by the way, not just being done on the right. It's not. The abandonment of working Americans is not just happening on the right.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's where we put the pressure, while we acknowledge that these people don't want to eat with us. They don't want to sit with us. They don't want to be cool with us. They don't want to have a fun time with us. Us, the Blacks, the Blicks.
But they are having a fun time. This is what I mean. Like, you talk about the let them eat cake moment. Trump is literally playing in the face of the American people, the working class. How you throw a party. Not only do you throw a party, while people are trying to figure out how they're going to feed their families. First, you're out of the country, dancing in the street. Dancing in the street. Like, the country is trying to figure out what's the next step forward, and you outside of the country having a good old time. You come back, and what do? You throw a party, but not just a party at the White House. You throw a Great Gatsby party. You can't make that up. You throw a Great Gatsby party. He is playing in your faces. He is trolling you. He is laughing at you. He is literally saying, this, it's the Roaring '20s. And we all know what happened after that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, and
We
by
all
the way,
know what happened.
and by the way, not Aaron Sorkin. What's his name? Andrew Ross Sorkin. Andrew Ross Sorkin. He wrote a book about 1929 and about the crash. Now, there's going to be a bubble that pops on AI. We've been talking about it. Might not be as bad as 29. Might not be as bad as 08. Might not be, but it will be bad. So the reality is the excess, all the decadence, there's a cost. And they're trying to make sure that the right people pay the cost.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to talk about one thing real quick.
Okay.
I want to talk about Halloween. Now, and this is interesting. We have Karine Jean-Pierre on the show today, by the way. We haven't mentioned that. She's going to be on the show. We're going to do a long interview with her about her book, Independent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She talks about a broken White House.
She does.
But
she's makes it clear which broken White House she's talking about. A little confusing title.
A little confusing. People thought. And she's going to explain that. But I want to say something, and it's going to be tough for people to understand why I'm saying this. All right. So Halloween came, and we get what we get every Halloween, which was some blackface.
Oh, yeah.
Every Halloween, there's some blackface. And I said something on Twitter about one specific piece of blackface and one specific person that did the blackface. And when I saw this, I looked at it and I was like, we have to ignore this. Don't bring up her name.
Okay.
Don't bring up her name. No shine.
Okay, then why are we talking about it?
Because it's important to talk about the overall mechanism. No shine.
Jesus.
Beep the name. No shine. No shine whatsoever. No shine. I'll tell you guys something. Our outrage. Let me stop. We have to ignore some of this. We have to. Black outrage has always been an industry for racists, always. But it's different now. It's different now because of the X payment system. The X payment system essentially makes everybody on X into a digital pimp.
Sure.
And the rise of new media agitators that are out there that want to be pimps, they want to pimp your outrage. They want to put you on a digital host stroll. They want you to do the work and then to bring the clicks and the attention back to them so they can directly monetize it.
Yeah.
That's their entire deal. They offer not even anything serious, not even anything halfway interesting to any type of debate. Their only existence is based upon ruining your day. That person, I know it's tough, has got to be ignored.
It's actually not tough.
It is tough for a lot of people because seeing racism and not calling it out is a pro-evolutionary trait for Black people. It's pro-evolutionary to say, hey, I was treated wrong here. I had a bad experience here. Everybody that's Black, big red sign, don't go here. They killing us over here. I get it. There's something that's different that's happening now, and we gotta ignore it. We have got to ignore it because we are actually enriching people.
Yeah.
That are playing upon the emotions, the trauma, the experiences of us and our ancestors to make them directly wealthy.
This is what I will say about this person in particular, right? To me,
let's not even forget about even naming her. Let's have a conversation.
Let me tell you why I don't get outraged like this. Like, I get outraged like when we have the Tyler, and outrage is a stretch, but like, give attention to what we saw happen with Tyler, the Creator, and talking about, his place in music and all of that and how it's a thing. right? The audience, the things he did to troll, where he is now, the evolution of the artist. That's a whole different conversation. I'll talk about that. I'll even get upset and annoyed by that kind of stuff. But when I see this, I'm at a point, and maybe this is me getting older, and I do see this rhetoric on social media. It's not our fight. Guys, don't worry about it. The whole notion of they're so obsessed with us. That's kind of where I settle in. You know everything about what we do, how we, or not exactly what we do, but you know what I mean? Like the things we like to wear, or like when you're trying to imitate us in ways that we don't do that for you. You are very much so obsessed with what we're doing, how we're doing it. And to me, that's where I land, to where I don't even want to respond. I don't even care anymore, because it's just you trying to play into, I get it now. And again, this might be my maturity in it all. What I will say to people though is, you're right. Don't respond, don't share these blogs, don't repost. There's like this so-and-so did this and get people outraged. Instead, just silently, if you feel like you must do something, just report it. In that way, you're not interacting with their post in any kind of way. They're not gaining anything from it. Just go report this as a violation if you feel like you must do something.
Right.
And that kind of thing has an effect. One of the people we're discussing is banned from a social media platform. And I'm sure from this very reason.
Every time you say one of the people, you're giving it shine.
Okay, you know what I mean? There have been people who have been banned because people report it. So I won't tell you to do nothing. I'll just say there is a way to go behind it to get get people like this removed from social media, to where they can't continue to harass and be obsessed with us in a way that is offensive. I saw it and I kept scrolling.
This is my thing. The obsession thing, all of that, I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
Whatever. If somebody has corporate power, if somebody has cultural power, if somebody has organizing power, if the Tyler the Creator situation, Tyler the Creator is in community with us, right? He's going to ask you to buy something. He's going to ask you to attend something. That is worth litigating, right? If you go into a restaurant, you like to eat at the restaurant, and the restaurant got a nigga table where everybody is saying nigga, 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 you go to the people in the restaurant and you say, hey, if the nigga table stays here, I won't eat here, and then I'll go outside and tell everybody not to eat here. Somebody has political power, cultural power, organizing power, all of that.
Yeah.
They're commanding great swaths of people, all of this stuff. You have the duty and the ability to say, hey, we don't want to fuck with this. I get it. But there are rogue people that are existing just to try to get to that perch off your outrage. And we have just simply got to ignore those people. We have got to ignore them. We can't give them any type of light and shine. This is the last time I'll even talk around this. But for everybody out there that's just doing the whole thing, we all know that racism exists. We know that people trade in racism. We know that we know all of this. But unless there is some fundamental effect on us, something that people are asking from us, or people that have actual power, we just got to let the peons talk to themselves. Right. It's just the way that it's gonna go. That's it. That's it. We got to do that. We got to do that.
I agree.
Let's pause and let's bring in Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Let's talk to her about her book, Higher Learning. There's a book out right now that is making the rounds. You're everywhere.
You're everywhere.
You are.
Am I? I'm in a bubble, so it's hard to get a real sense of what's happening.
Really?
You know, when you're in the bubble, you're just like going from one place to another. You're getting on a flight, going to this event. You're not in reality. You're in your own pocket.
We're going into the bubble. We're popping the bubble.
We're popping the bubble right now. We're gonna pop the bubble.
Please pop the bubble.
The book is Independent, a look inside a broken White House, outside party lines. Karine Jean-Pierre joins us on Higher Learning today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here with y'all. It's beautiful in LA.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's nice. We're having really hot weather.
It's hot. No, I was like, I got to take like layers off. It's really hot.
White House Press Secretary under President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Explain to our audience, before we even get into the book, what prompted you to write it, the theme of the book. Tell people what the White House press secretary does.
So the White House press secretary, it was a privilege and an honor. I always say that, to have been White House press secretary, because I spoke for the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States. And I did it as a first. I was the first Black person, the first openly queer person, the first immigrant, like many first. And so I carried all these communities with me in the job. And so it made it much more special to have had the job. So my portfolio and what I was charged to do was to speak on behalf of the president of the administration to the American people, obviously doing it in the press briefing room with the press and going back and forth, but pushing out what we were trying to do, pushing out our message, and trying to answer really hard questions and important questions that the American people needed to know. And so I did it for 2.5 years. I am currently right now the longest serving female press secretary, because it's not a job that you should do for very long, because it's a pretty stressful job. But again, it was an honor and a privilege, and that was my role for 2.5 years. And I got to travel around the world, across the country, and it was an experience that I will never have again in my life.
Yeah, anytime I see you or someone in that position take that podium, I'm always like, I like things moving fast. I like the live action. I like the change. But that is one of the most stressful, anxious jobs, and you don't really know what's coming at you too.
You don't.
So you can't even really prepare for it as much preparation as I'm sure you had. What does one do to relax, or did you ever relax or come down in those 2.5 years?
It's hard because it's 7 days a week. You're constantly on your phone. You have 2 phones, right? You're constantly, it's always buzzing, and someone needs something from you. 12, 15-hour days. And so what I ended up doing for myself was I woke up at 4:30 every morning, and I would pray, I would meditate, and I would exercise. If I did not do those things, I don't think I would have been able to survive. And it was my moment, my time, which is one of the reasons I woke up so early, so I could be able to do that. But that was it. I mean, it's very isolating too when you have these types of jobs where the camera's on you, the focus is on you. You really don't have a personal life because you're recognized everywhere that you go. And so you feel very isolated. And so you don't really have a lot of outlets.
Yeah.
So you have to create a safe space for yourself, which is also very difficult to do.
Good for you. You came out looking great.
But it didn't
get to you.
They call it the White House post White House glow up.
It's a real thing.
It's a real
divorce.
thing. It's ooh, I didn't think about that.
I know that well.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
we got
fresh
talk.
off my own.
About this. Oh.
So
it's a glow.
Okay. It's okay.
This book is in part an examination of the two-party system in America.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what it is.
It's in part an examination of that. I have talked about it at great length on this podcast, and I've lost faith in party.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the structure of party anymore. Political clubs, be that as they may. What was your decision to leave the Democratic Party?
I'm so glad you set it up that way, because that's exactly it. And when I'm talking about the broken White House, I'm actually talking about the current White House. And yes, to me, the two-party system is broken, right? And when you do not have a functioning party system, then your democracy becomes something that's fractured as well. And right now, our democracy is hanging by a shoestring. And the parties are just not working. One party is completely lost, and the other party, I feel, is not fighting enough. And so the book came about when I left the White House in January after the Biden-Harris term was done. I was bumping into people, whether at the airport, at my kid's school, or at a coffee shop, and folks would be like, "What's going on? Why weren't the Democrats ready? Why aren't they fighting?" I mean, they're like Project 2025, like it's going, like he's going at it. And at the time was anti-DEI, right? Going after federal agencies, these secretaries that he was nominating that were not qualified, that were basically against the agencies that they were supposed to be secretaries and head of. And so I thought to myself, yeah, what is going on? And that was the reason of writing the book. But it also goes back to the administration time and what I saw when I was obviously as White House press secretary. I mean, the fact that Kamala Harris, who should have won, didn't win, was heartbreaking. And 92% of Black women came out once again. And I do feel like the party forgets us. We are the backbone of the party. We are on the front lines. And they largely forget us. And I think they should have fought harder. They should have been behind her a lot more, the party leadership. And they weren't. And I think there was something that was missing. So there was a lot of like disillusionment and scratching my head, like, what happened? Like, how did we get here? And that's when I started to examine, okay, how do I have a voice in this? And when you look at independence, and I'm not asking for a third party, I'm asking to fix the system so that independents can actually participate in the system. So if there's a closed primary, independents, which are millions of voters out there, they can't participate. And independents are people who are saying, basically what you're saying is, I don't see myself represented in either party, but I want to participate. But then you can't participate in closed primaries. So to me, that's a problem with the system. And so we have to make the system more about the people and less about the parties. And so that's the conversation that I'm trying to have. I'm trying to start a conversation, but also, so that's one part of it. And the other part of it too is, how do I put myself in a situation where I can push party leadership in the Democratic Party to do better, to do more? And not to throw vulnerable communities under the bus, which is one of the things that I started to see very, very early on in 2025.
You know, I saw that you said that when you meant a broken White House, that you don't mean the Biden White House, that you mean the Trump White House. Nobody believes that.
Well, because the book was written to be in the moment.
Right.
I was literally, if when you read the book, you'll see that I'm talking about what's happening right now and meeting the moment. Mm-hmm. I mean, people didn't believe that because they want a tell-all, right? I think people are, they assume the book was going to be, I'm telling secrets, and I'm not. The book doesn't have secrets in it. The book is literally talking about my experience, and I get to speak from my point of view, but I'm not telling secrets about, my bosses, right? I'm not saying, oh, and this happened, and because that's not the part of the book. That's not the purpose of the book. So folks, I think when the cover came out and they didn't read the press release that came with the cover, I think the assumption was, oh, she's writing a tell-all. But the book is much more nuanced and has much more depth. And it really is about meeting the moment. Yes, I give a story about what happened and, kind of pull back the curtains and give a little bit of what it was like to be a first and what it's like to be a White House press secretary. But I am trying to talk about the moment that we're in and how do we move forward, because these are dangerous times. I mean, by tomorrow, November 1st, people are going to lose, folks who really need SNAP are going to lose it. We're talking about kids, elderly, we're talking about disabled people. They're going to lose it. I mean, we are headed towards a food desert, which we haven't seen since the Great Depression.
So
that's
there was
serious.
nothing, in your opinion, that was broken about the Biden White House.
I mean, what I would say is that we didn't get everything right. I'm not. What
are some of the big things that you guys got wrong?
I mean, look, I feel like, could we have done more in climate change? We did some. Could we have done more? Could we have done more on the economy? We could always do more in the economy, right? I mean, there are tons of things that I feel like we could have done more, but objectively, it was a success. Objectively, it was a successful 3 years. And what I mean by that is, we came in with multiple crises: the economy, COVID, and climate change, I can name it. And we were able to start the process in turning all of that around, passing historic legislation, whether it's the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, whether it's making sure people got out of COVID, chips. I mean, you name it. We were able to do big things for our veterans. We were able to expand healthcare. And that was the beginning. And a lot of that was historic. And one of the things that we wanted to do, and the president and the vice president wanted to do, is make sure that everything that we did had equity at the center of it. So you're not leaving Black and brown communities or communities who are normally forgotten when you're trying to fix things and make things better. And so that's historic. I think this I think historians will look at the 3 years of the Biden-Harris administration and will say it was one of the most effective domestically and trying to make things better and moving the country forward than we've seen in modern politics.
Last, we can move into, we can get off the, so as you note things that you could have done better on, I think there's one glaring thing that people are going to ask if you could have done better on this. And of course, is the genocide that happened in Gaza. And as we re-examine the Biden White House, it seems that that is something that people, be it Vice President Harris, yourself, Joe Biden himself, you guys seem reluctant to talk about that, how you feel about it, how people felt about it, especially as it continues to be a story that seemingly gets worse and worse.
So I have talked about how I feel about it. Okay. It's devastating. It's messed up. It's awful. And
you guys feel like you could have done better on that.
What I will say, yes, I do. I do think that more could have been done. I couch it because I'm not a foreign policy expert. It was not my policy. Yeah. I spoke about it because that was the job. That's every White House press secretary job. And it would be inhumane, and I would not be a human or a person if I didn't say what is happening and what has occurred and where we are today in Gaza, in the Middle East, is heartbreaking. It's awful. And we need to get to a resolution. I know there's a temporary ceasefire. There needs to be peace in the Middle East. And it is not something that I wanted to see. I don't think it's anything that anybody in the administration wanted to see. I hope Joe Biden, the president, is writing a book right now. And I hope he has an opportunity. And I'm pretty sure that he will speak to it and lay out what his thoughts were, lay out why he went forward in the policy decisions that he made. But again, it was, you have these jobs, and like every other person that's dealt with every difficult issues in different administration, you have a job, you speak on behalf of the President of the United States. And it's not my policy. It's not something that, I'm not speaking for Karine Jean-Pierre, but yes, it was awful. It was awful. And I would be lying if I didn't say it was awful. It was terrible, and it was hard to watch, and the violence needs to stop.
You talk about, and you talked a little bit about it when you talked about the title of the book and A Look Inside a Broken White House. If Joe Biden had not, I guess I'm curious, I'm trying to figure out when it became broken to you, because you were a Democrat, you were in the party. While you were working with Joe Biden, did you feel like the leadership was broken? Did you feel like the party was broken in a sense, that the messaging was off? Or was there, did that point change for you when what you call in the book a betrayal?
So first I want to say, like, the results from November 2024 obviously are not what we wanted. And I think we all take accountability. We all have to take accountability. And when I say we all, meaning the Biden-Harris administration, the party, including myself, because we missed something. We clearly missed something. I talked about the economy, but clearly people weren't feeling it. And as the data showed the economy was better, people were like, look, we're not feeling this. And I think there was an incumbency issue. There were a lot of things that happened that I have to lay out that we all should be really aware of, and I have to speak to. What I saw, and I talk about a betrayal to Joe Biden, but I also talk about like what they almost did to Kamala Harris as well. So the betrayal to me is we have 40 days left. And I get it. The debate, it was bad. It was awful. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. But I feel like the way that they treated him was just the worst thing that I've ever seen anybody treat someone.
Who's they?
Democratic leadership. And
who?
Well, I'm not going to call people out, but they know who they are.
Not fast.
Yeah. But I look, there was a campaign every single day. Somebody was coming out, somebody from the the governor's side, the congressional side, and it was just ugly. And I just thought, this is not how you do it. This is not how you behave. And one of the things that I say is, we were eating our own and really, I feel, destroying the party while the Republicans were quiet. They didn't say anything barely said anything that was happening with Joe Biden and what was going on, which means to me that they saw the Democratic Party and they were like, oh, they're like destroying themselves.
Or they wanted Joe Biden to stay.
Yeah.
Look,
because they were talking about his age and his...
No, they were, but I'm talking about the campaign. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the campaign that was happening with the Democratic leadership. Yes, yes, they were talking about his age, all of those things. Everybody was talking about his age. And then when he decided to step down, there was talk about having an open primary, a brokered convention. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, why are we doing that? Mm-hmm. Why are we not giving her an opportunity? She is more than qualified. She's the current vice president. She was on the ticket with Joe Biden during the primary. And so there was that talk. And so it was, to me, it was incredibly fractured. It was a behavior that was unbecoming, and it was problematic for me.
Can you elaborate a little bit, I guess, on how you feel like the Democratic leadership failed him? Because you mentioned the debate.
Yeah.
We all saw the debate. Kamala Harris talks about it in her book. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it, but she talks about it in her book, where she says everybody saw the same thing, but the messaging that was told to her was that you need to say how great of a job he did. Yeah. Almost like ignore what you saw. That's not what she says verbatim, but it is that she was told to say he did great and all of these things. And she said that she was kind of reprimanded for how she did respond in regards to it.
Oh, I thought she did I talk about it in the book. I thought she did a great job responding to the debate.
She says they told her. I think she did too. She
I haven't read the book yet.
Okay,
I'm going to read it, but I haven't read it.
She makes the assertion that she was told, you need to talk about how well he did. Okay. And she felt uncomfortable because she saw what everyone else did, that he did not do a good job.
So I haven't read it yet. Okay. And I will say this. I think she did a phenomenal job as being on top of the ticket. I'm glad she wrote the book, and I think it's important for her to tell her truth. So I'm not going to deny her what she said. One of the things that I know that she said, and I saw it in an excerpt, she did say, and she said it multiple times, that she always thought that he was more than capable of leading, and that if she had ever seen anything, that she cared about the American people in this country more. So she has been very clear about, no, I never saw anybody who couldn't lead, who was in decline. Like she has said that several times. So that leads me to your question about the debate. Look,
or the leadership. Like, what should the leadership have done? I think after we all witnessed that in response.
Here's what I believed. Look, I think there's a question of, should he have ran? She had decided to do the re-election or not. That should have happened in 2023. Like, I feel like that conversation should have happened. If they felt like he shouldn't have done it, it should have happened in 2023. And it didn't. And now you're in the summer of 2024. And when you do stuff like this, when you take down the head of the Democratic Party, or you attack the head of the Democratic Party, it's going to have some effect on people who do support Biden, or people who did support the administration. I feel like it doesn't look good as a unison, as we're trying to bring everybody together, as we're trying to bring the base together to move forward to win in November 2024. I believe it was detrimental to what we're trying to do in winning. And that's where my head was at. It's like, okay, how we're doing this, but how does that look to other people? How we're going to win if we do this? And then to say, okay, it may not be her. It has to be somebody else. I mean, I just feel like you're sending a message that we're not together. We're not in unison. We're not trusting of Kamala Harris to be at the top of the ticket once Joe Biden decided not to do it. I just don't think it looked good for us as a party moving forward. I do think it caused some damage. I really do.
Point taken.
Yeah.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Couple of things. One, is it possible that once Americans saw the debate that things were already too far gone? I mean, we're watching the debate, and I think sometimes the disconnect is this. I'll say a couple of things. Number one, on the economy, part of the reason why there was a glitch in communication between the base of the party as far as the people and maybe the higher ups on the economy is because the media didn't help educate Americans on the actuality of the economy. Yeah. And that's because we have a left-leaning media. So they will point to things like the stock market. They will point to other things that don't directly have an effect on what the average American is feeling. And they would say this is proof that the economy is doing just fine. Now we know that there is almost two economies operating in America. One that Americans have almost no participation in, and another one that is actually the real economy. And I can make an argument that we are investigating those things now because there's a Republican in office, right?
I agree. I don't disagree with anything that you just said. I totally, completely agree. And I have a chapter in the book about the media and their role in all of this. And I do think that one of the reasons that it was hard to break through is how the media was reporting it. But not just that. There's misinformation, disinformation,
Absolutely.
right? Mm-hmm. There's so many things right now in this moment. And this is one of the things that I'm trying to say in the book too, is being an independent thinker. Like, I'm not even asking people to be independent in a sense of like leaving the party. But we now have to be independent thinkers in the sense where we have to question everything that we see. We have to fact check. We have to break through, because people are not really getting information from traditional media, right? They're getting information from Spotify, watching your show, watching.
And we have to be better. I'll take responsibility for some of the fact of the reporting that happened that we did.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that wrong.
No, I'm being for real. I'm just letting people know because a bunch of people that's gonna be like, man, you told us the economy was good too. I was like, yeah, but like that's what I was reading. Yeah. I thought that things were up, but they were not up. They were down.
But so it's there's a lot of nuance and a lot of things to unpack. But yes, I think the media, I think social media, the social platforms, I think misinformation, disinformation, you have to do so much work as a voter, as a citizen, to make sure you have the right information. And it is harder to do that now than ever before, because you have leaders who are lying to you, like lying. And so it is incredibly hard, incredibly difficult right now in this moment. So I don't think you're wrong. I think like you're onto something that we are just kind of learning right now. And I talk about that in the book. It's look, one of the things about the book is I really am very worried about where we are in this moment. And yes, I want to start a conversation. Yes, the book is starting a conversation, but I really want people to stay engaged. And it's so hard because when you think the system isn't working for you, which is broken, and when you think that leaders are not representing you, you want to walk away from it. But the thing is, we have to figure out a way to get engaged, whether it's in our community and do something in our community that's worth it, that makes movement, that you see the effects, or figure out something else. And one of the things that I've been trying to tell young people is you got to get involved. Okay, run for something. That's why Donnie in New York City is one of the most impressive things that I've seen in a long time. 33, 34 years old, socialist Democrat. I mean, he talks directly to the American people. He's talking about housing. He's talking about things that matter to folks. And it's young people came out and voted for him in a primary. And it bothered me that Democratic leadership we're trying to get in the way.
But
we're trying to get in the way
about that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to talk about, but in many ways, it's the same thing from the debate real quick.
Yeah.
So by the time the debate was on television, I look at the debate in Mamdani and it's almost the same thing. We're looking at him. We're looking at it being successful. We're looking at it working. You're talking
about Mamdani.
Okay, right gotcha. We're looking at somebody cut through, talk directly to people, galvanize people. We're looking literally at someone turn the page on communication and connection. And then we're looking at the establishment of the party. Stop it. The same thing with the debate was we looked at Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I'm not believing anyone, not Kamala Harris, not anyone that tells me that guy could run the country. I
hear you, Van.
I'm looking at Joe Biden on the stage, and this is after having seen Joe Biden in many different settings, and just looking at it and going, I don't know, that doesn't, and everybody, he's fine, he's fine, and then he gets up there during the debate at a point where you physically, visually need to see somebody fight the actual thing that's on the other side, and he can't muster it, but then he's going to leave and be completely capable of running the country. It looked impossible.
And I hear you, and I'm not denying anything that you said. I'm just talking, again, from my personal perspective on someone that I saw every single day, someone that I traveled with more than 95% of the time. And what I saw that night was not the person that I know, that I see all the time. It just wasn't. It was not him. And I was shocked. I was surprised. We all were. No one is denying that. But what I'm saying is it is not the person that I know. I got to see him. Man, I got to see him every single day. Every single day. And that was not him. That just wasn't him.
I think this is where it gets into, like, we often talk about messaging. And you talk about it in your book as well. Talk about messaging. Talk about how we feel like the Democrats just don't get it right. And that's the thing that I think that Van is pointing out. Perception is reality.
It is.
And
we found that out
on this podcast,
in November 2024.
I was very much so, like, I would see something and I like, oh, okay. I see him at the Juneteenth. There's no way. They would tell us. There's no way. He was just caught up in the moment. It was, and then you saw the debate and there was no denying it. So when perception is reality, that's when it's like, when do you put yourself, I mean, it ended up happening, but it seems like as if it was forced. When do you put yourself to the side over the country? And I think that's something that we took away from everything that happened surrounding Biden. And I'll use the word betrayal. Now, I don't know if you could fully answer this question, but it was off. We thought Joe Biden was going to be a one-term president. Now, I know he didn't actually say the word, but he would say transition.
No, he did. He said he was going to be a transition. You're 1,000% correct.
Is it right for us to say that we feel it was a bit of a betrayal, that you said that this is what you were going to do and you positioned yourself this way, and then at the last minute things turned, and
that's a real question to ask, and that's something that literally he has to answer, and I hope he does it in the book, because that is true, right? He said he was going to be a transitional candidate. He wanted to, after COVID, after Donald Trump, it was, and the voters decided, they were like, okay, we don't want anything extreme. We want just to get this guy out, and we want somebody who knows how to run government to run government. That's essentially what happened in 2020, right? And he was the vice president for the first Black president. He's been senator. We're going to do that, right? And he had said that, and he has to answer to that question. And I think it's a good question to ask. I don't have an answer to that. Actually, what I will say is in 2023, I think in the moment when he was thinking, and again, he has to speak to this, when he was thinking about what he was going to do, there was a couple things that came up, right? He was the incumbent. He was the only person that beat Donald Trump. We had relatively successful midterms because it wasn't a red wave. We had a relatively or objectively a good couple of years. And I'm assuming that went into his thinking when he decided if he was going to run or not. But he has to answer to that. You all are not wrong. That was part of kind of the conversation in 2020 and 2019 on how do we how do we meet the moment of where we are as a country? Hence, the picking of Kamala Harris as the vice president and a very, very, the most diverse administration ever in modern politics. So that was all part of meeting the moment. But he has to speak to that. That is something I agree he has to answer to all of you on that.
And I think that's when you look at what's happening in New York City and everything that we talked about, and you talk about perception as reality, and you see what Mamdani is doing. You see the excitement, and you see people rallying behind him from all walks of life for a candidate like you haven't seen before in that position. And then you see the establishment. You see the Democrats the veterans who've been there for a long time, not rallying behind him, not supporting him. What is your thought behind that as somebody who was so closely connected to these people, and as an independent now, where do you think the party should go?
So I find it very problematic, not just because they didn't just rally behind him, but he did it the right way. Right? He participated in a Democratic primary process. He did the job. He campaigned. He was an unknown. He wasn't Eric Adams. He wasn't Cuomo. He was not somebody that people knew. And he did the work, and he did it differently, and he won the primary. So that was really my problem with it. Is like, okay, wait, he actually did the right thing, participated in a primary. We tell young people, hey, go out and vote. And he became the Democratic primary nominee for the mayor. And now you're saying to him, no. Now you're saying you don't want him. So what message does that send to people who participated? That was the big problem for me. It's not as if like, oh, he galvanized everybody and maybe he might be the nominee. No, he actually became the nominee. It happened. And so for me, I think that hurts us. I think that hurts the party. I think you're sending a message to especially young people who who feel disillusioned and not sure if they want to participate and not feel seen. And now you're saying, oh no, he was elected, ranked choice voting, which is not an easy thing. You have to really be really smart on how you campaign around that and how you tell people to vote. And but we don't want him. So we're going to, get Eric Adams to drop out, go behind. I mean, it's just insane. Yeah. And I think this is one of the things where the leadership needs to be called out. And this is what I'm talking about, right? It's like, you can't do that. And if he wins on Tuesday, like, Democratic leadership needs to make sure that he is a successful mayor. He cannot fail. We can't want him to fail. And so that is the problem that Mamdani just became a really good example in what the problem is with the party right now.
What percentage of politics would you say is just straight up lying?
Oh my gosh.
I want a percent.
Well, there's a lot of performative, that's for sure.
Straight up lying. What percentage of politics is just straight lying?
I think every candidate, every person is different. I mean, you look at the person in the White House, that's straight up lying like 24/7. I don't think everyone is like him. But I don't, I think it depends.
What percentage of what you said up there was just straight lies?
It was not lies.
None of it was lies.
None of it was lies. None of it was lies.
You have a 3-year, I told no lies.
No, I didn't. I have to tell you no. And if somebody asked me something I couldn't answer, if you watch my briefing and somebody asked me something I couldn't answer, I'd be like, I got to get back to you. I just don't know. I would say.
And you were criticized for that.
Yeah. And I was criticized because we're like, oh, she's not ready. It's like, no, I actually don't have the answer for you, or I rather not say because I don't know if that's right or wrong, or I don't want to, get myself in a situation.
Is Caroline Levitt lying?
I don't watch her briefings. I don't.
I'm sure it's
clips.
Popped up on your social media.
I was just about to say, I've seen clips that have gone viral and I scratch my head and I'm like, what is going on? And here's the thing. Look, and I've said this many times and I'll say it here. Freedom of the press is so important. It's part of our democracy. You got to respect the press. And while I can't think of any politician that likes the press. We do not like the press, right? Because wait,
why?
Because it's tough, right? They are supposed to hold us to account. And sometimes it's aggressive. And sometimes we don't like how they cover us, right? Sometimes right? But you respect the job. But you respect the job.
Isn't that a peek behind the curtain into sort of a problem? Like, it would be one thing to respect the press, but to not like the press means you don't like the accountability.
No. That's not what I'm saying. No. I'm not saying that at all. But they're never going to cover you well, right? Because, sometimes you read a story, you're like, wait, why is this being said? Or why that? So you kind of have like this feeling of like, oh no, the press doesn't like me, or oh no, the press this, the press that. But then you don't hate them. You don't despise them. You may not like how they cover you. I probably should restate that. You may not like how they cover you, but you don't disrespect them. And that's my whole thing. Because what is being televised in that room, the press briefing room, is not just to the country, but it's to the world. Right. And if you are not showing some sort of like, okay, we're going to have a back and forth. You're not going to like me. I'm not going to like you, but we're going to respect each other, or at least try to respect each other. And we're going to go back and forth. You're showing the world leaders that, okay, democracy. This is democracy in action. This is the freedom of the press. And so that's what's important with what happens in that briefing room, because of the visual and the perception, like you were saying, of what you stand for and what you're trying to mean and what you're trying to push forward. And so that's what is hard to see in the clips that I've seen with the current press secretary.
How many Yo Mama texts did you send to someone?
Yo Mama, I never sent the Yo Mama. I don't think I even sent that to a friend. And who says that? I feel like that's something you say in third grade.
Well, that's
right.
She just wants to seem,
when
she
you
just
had
wants
Yo
to seem
Mama
like Trump.
Like,
She wants to seem like Trump. It's like
they all do. They're
the
all
Trump
playing
cosplay
Trump.
It's very upsetting.
It's like online trolling. It's just like what he does, and so they follow suit.
What role do you see for yourself moving forward?
You know, that's a good question. I was hoping that with the book, I can start a conversation and find a voice that is helpful in what we're trying to do in this moment. One of the things that I want to do is I want to tell stories. So there are two women that I learned about while I was White House press secretary. I had never heard of them before. One of them is Alice Dunnigan, and the other woman is Ethel Payne. They were the two black women who were the first black women to be part of the White House press corps. And this was like 75 years ago. So can you imagine them being part of the boys club and, trying to ask Eisenhower a question and he's ignoring them. And so I want to tell stories like that. I want to lift up voices that we had never heard of before, or we don't know, or maybe we heard a little bit about. And so these are stories that are personal to me. I recently got the rights to their books, and
nice.
Hopefully I can. Thank you. Hopefully I can figure out how to tell those stories. So stuff like that, like telling stories. Hopefully having a voice that's helpful. Especially, I'm very focused on young people right now. We need them to be involved in politics, and I know they're upset. I know they're upset with the Biden-Harris administration. I get it. I'm not disillusioned about that myself, but I do feel as if they have a role and a place. And that's why Mom Donnie I think is really exciting and really important. And I hope they see themselves in that and get involved.
Are you familiar with Jink from the Young Turks? You know what that is? Jink?
No.
I was watching.
Okay.
You're gonna be mad that you don't know him.
Yeah.
I was watching the.
I know Young Turks.
The Young Turks.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Jink and Anna, they hosted.
Yeah.
So I was watching Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
Because when you want to watch like the Real Housewives of political issues, it's Piers Morgan.
Oh, that's where you go.
Yeah.
Well, you've been on it. So you've been a Real Housewife.
I've been on the Real Housewives. I like the Real Housewives.
Which one were you on? Which franchise?
No, I wasn't on the Real Housewives. I was on Piers Morgan.
The Piers Morgan. He's saying that's the Real Housewives.
Yeah, I was on there. I haven't been on
he was
Real Housewives before. I would love that. I would love to be with the Grand
two
Dame.
of you. The two of you should do the Grand Dame.
I would love to be with the Grand Dame over in Potomac.
We'll have her here.
I would love to be with them. So he was on Piers Morgan, and it was the Young Turks. Jink. He was and you brought him together with Katie Miller. Katie Miller, who is Stephen Miller's wife, who had one of the most disastrous television performances I've ever seen before in my life. Go watch it. It's a panel. It's her, Jink, Jillian Michaels, Omar. They're all on the Young Turks together, and she just made a complete fool of herself. Now,
and she's a person of color, right?
No, is she?
She looks like she is, but I don't know.
I don't want to speak on it, man. That she's Jewish. So
okay. Maybe
that doesn't
wrong.
mean she can't be a person of color. Shout out to all of our people of color who are Jewish from all over the diaspora. My Ethiopian Jews, but you brought them together because, and she was literally talking about getting him deported minutes before you brought them together. You brought them together because
we're getting who the Turks and
you brought Jink and Katie together. They were able to agree on something, and it was about the fact that they don't like the way you talk about your identity.
Okay.
Jink thinks that talking about your identity as a Black queer woman is playing into identity politics and something that you do to shield yourself from criticism.
No, not at all.
She kind of said the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
I want you to maybe talk a little bit about why it's so important for you to talk about
I love that you said that, because if anything, I get criticized for saying I'm a Black queer woman. I don't get shielded from saying I'm a Black queer woman. If anything, it actually puts a target, more of a target on me when I say it. And I bring it up because there are communities that are out there who don't feel seen, or who are scared, or who are fearful. And I think I need to own it. And I've always been unapologetic about who I am. I will never, ever, ever run away from it. And first of all, you see me and I'm a Black woman. So you know what I mean? I don't have to say it. I mean, you see me, I walk into a room, there goes a Black, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even understand that. I can't hide the fact that I'm a Black woman. So why not own it? And so I will never apologize for being in the body and the space and the communities that I occupy. And it's almost as if, no, you're going to acknowledge me because this is who I am. And I'm not going to hide it. And I'm going to put it in your face because this is who I am. Again, I actually get criticized for being a Black queer woman. Mm-hmm. I get criticized for it. So why not own it?
Right.
Why not live in that space and be like, I don't care? What
do you say to the people that say that we're fighting this constant battle for our humanity? Everything that we do is DEI. I drive across the street. I was able to do it because of DEI. I wake up in the morning. It was a DEI awakening. I go to sleep at night. I was able to sleep because of DEI. These are DEI mics. I'm wearing DEI shoes. DEI hat. Everything is DEI. There's nothing like I shoot the ball goes in the basket.
Yeah.
DEI score.
Yeah.
Everything we do is because of DEI.
Yeah.
And they say that your job and what you were able to do, how you got to the White House was not because you had done anything else, but because you are Black. How did you get to be the White House press secretary?
And first of all, I have to go back to the other thing too, because it pisses me off that people who have not walked in my shoes, who have no idea who really I am as a person, get to tell me how I get to identify myself or not. So it's like,
shut up.
I was like, you can't tell me how I get to identify myself. You can't tell me how I get to call myself. Like, screw you. Like, that's not okay. Like, that is not okay. You have no right to tell anybody how they should identify themselves and how they see themselves in the world. Like, you have not walked through my battles. You have not walked through my life. You don't even know my personal story. So that's how that just boils me up. So I had to say that. Look, picking a White House press secretary is a personal thing that the President of the United States does. I have known Joe Biden since 2009. I have known him for a long time. He has watched me grow up. He has watched me become the person that I am today. And he actually asked me to be part of his press team back in 2019 when he was deciding to run. And I decided that I didn't want to be part of a presidential campaign because I had a little kid and I was trying to just focus on my life. And so people don't know, it's like a personal decision. I didn't just pop up one day and he was like, oh, look at this person, let me make her the White House press secretary. No, I've known him for a long time. And he would say to me, I like the way you speak for me. I like the way you present yourself for me.
That's a cold line. I'm sorry, man. I just can't imagine. I like the way you speak for me.
For me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's your job.
That's the job. I've never. Rachel,
don't start saying it. I was going to say, don't think you can start. Well, now he's going to start saying it to people.
But that's
the job.
But that's the job.
Of course, I
but that's what I was doing.
That's just cold.
He's just going to start saying it now.
But that's okay.
Donnie, I like the way you speak for me.
So it's not like I showed up in January 2021 and he was like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do. No, I've known him for a long time. Again, it's a personal decision, right? Barack Obama, the first person he picked as his press secretary was Robert Gibbs. Why did he pick Robert Gibbs? He'd known Robert Gibbs for a long time. They were close. They were friends. I mean, that's how it normally goes. And so I didn't come out of nowhere and Joe Biden was like, oh, I'm going to pick her. No, I've been working with him and have known him since 2009.
No, very fair. Don't start saying that.
I like the way you
I don't speak for you.
Oh, I see what's happening here.
Yeah. That's he's holding on to it. It's probably gonna be in our intro now.
Yeah. Who speaks for me?
I'm not sure when you decided to write this book what you anticipated people would say. But there's been praise and there's been criticism, of course, as comes with everything.
Yeah, anytime there is something different, there's going to be praise and criticism.
Correct.
Understood.
What would you say to people who say, you know, not now, where we are right now in our life or this country, we don't need this book right now. Yeah. A book that reflects on, and I know in the book you obviously you're talking about moving forward, but for people who are like, we don't need to hear about what happened in the last administration. We need to figure out what's going on right now. For the people who think that it might be self-serving or opportunistic to write a book, what would you say to those people?
I would say that I'm very worried about this moment. And what I talk about, yes, I talk about the past. And the reason why I talk about the past is because there's a story. My decision to become an independent is connected to the past, obviously. So I have to start there in order to move it forward, or else it doesn't make sense for people. And people can agree with me or not. That's not the point. But I believe for me, this book was important because if not now, then when? I believe the party needs to do more. They need to act like an opposition party because these are not normal times and you can't act as if it's business as usual. I believe that the system is broken and so we have to fix it and figure out. I believe in these moments when we're under attack and it feels really low is a moment to reimagine the future and reimagine what this country could look like. But we need the right leaders to do that. We need leaders who are going to have the heart and the moral compass and be brave about doing that. And sometimes you have to bring people along to get to a place where everybody feels like they're safe and protected and you're fighting for them. And that's what I believe. And I hope that that's what people get from the book. And I hope they give it a chance. And I understand people are going to hate it. People are going to love it. People are going to hate that I'm the messenger. That's fine. That's fine. But a lot of it too, and I'm actually saying, at least in the moment that we're in right now, I'm saying the quiet things out loud. A lot of the things I talk about are what people say around their kitchen table or what people are saying when they're hanging out with their friends. Like what's going on and why are we not fighting more? Why is the party not fighting more? And so I'm also saying the quiet things out loud.
What Rachel's talking about is the overall response to the book and the book tour, which some of these headlines are brutal.
Yeah.
I know you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Disastrous book tour.
Yeah.
New York Times said the book tour that most authors wouldn't dream about.
Yeah.
MSNBC, disastrous book tour. And then, of course, there was the New Yorker piece that just came out that just went everywhere with people feeling like it was just a total L for you. What do you think the response? What's your response to?
I think that a lot of it is coming from like a corner of the world, right? That's kind of repeating themselves. And fine, that's what they're going to do. I can't really change that. There's nothing that I can do about that. I don't think it was disastrous. I don't think...
You think that the New Yorker interview went well?
Oh, I don't think it went well. He was completely combative and we were going back and forth and it was not... that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But we're talking about one interview and I know there's some... That's one interview and I know that there's some reporting, right? But I've done other interviews that have gone really well. Right. I've had other conversations that's gone really well. If you pick one or two, whatever you think about them, but I've had multiple interviews that people have gotten something out of it. And I've done events where people have gotten something out of it. And it goes back to what Rachel and I were saying, like people are going to, when you say something that has never been heard before or that's new, people are going to hate it and some people are going to love it. You're not, this is different. What I'm saying is out of the box. Some people may say it's insane. Some people may say, oh, good for you. But, you know, I have come under criticism all the time. Yeah, it is not unusual. And some people may not like it's me saying it, right? A lot of it is because it's me saying it. But that's not my problem.
Do you think that there's an expectation from people that the press secretary should be able to, former press secretary, should be able to go back and forth with the guy from the New Yorker And even if he is combative, is there an expectation of a media expertise that you should have? Do you think people hold you to a standard? They say she shouldn't have a bad interview. She shouldn't have a bad interaction. She shouldn't have a bad spot because she literally was the person that was in front of the world doing media stuff.
Also, we're all normal. And that's one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've had multiple good interviews, right? And what I will say about that interview is it was combative.
How was he combative with you?
I mean, he was like cutting me off, and he wouldn't let me speak, and he should probably release the audio of the interview.
You think if he released the audio of the interview, it would play different for people than
reading it? Maybe.
I think so. I mean, there were times where I was like, "Let me talk," right? It was a pushback, and he literally had his own thinking, right, and his own perspective. Like he went into it. It wasn't an interview where, okay, I'm going to give you, I don't agree with you, or people don't agree with you, or I want to hear what you have to say. It was combative. It was a combative. I mean, you read it and it reads as a combative interview. It does.
Would you like to call him to release the audio? Because I think
no, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not even going to go down that road.
Can I be honest? I would rather. What I don't want to see is you be on a podium.
Yeah.
I'd rather see you be more loose.
Yeah.
Maybe a little combative.
Yeah.
Standing up for the things that you believe in, what you're writing in. I would rather see that than see you perfectly crafted together.
Yeah.
I think that that's part of the thing that people have is they question, are you going to be authentic when you're writing this book?
Yeah.
Or are you the press secretary still?
Yeah.
Are you telling your honest truths about your relationships with Joe Biden and other people? Or are you...
Yeah. I mean, but I say things in the book that are out of the norm, right? When you're criticizing the Democratic Party, that's not stepping in line. That's giving your authentic view, right? I mean, that's not the thing to do, right? I mean, I'm doing something that people are pissed off about. That's a part of it. And I tell my story of what it was like being White House press secretary. And so those are not, the book has a lot of stuff that is like, oh, wow, she's telling this. Oh, wow, she's sharing that. And I think that's real. What's real.
What's the party saying to that? Like, what has been the response from some of the Democratic leadership?
I think it's coming through some of these stories, right? I mean, some of these stories are the Democratic leaders feeling and saying what they think, right? The not now, or you weren't great at your job anyway, right? Or, I mean, that's coming from the party leadership. That's coming from some of the colleagues that I worked with. They're voiceless, but that's where that's coming from. Meaning, like when I say voiceless, they don't sign their name to their comments. But I don't care. Like nobody's living in my head rent free. Like no one is living in my head rent free. And I'm going to continue to speak. And of course, there were going to be bad stories. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's the press. We don't like them. Question. There is an annoyance that I have with the books that are coming out.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with people's personal stories.
Okay.
I actually enjoy reading a lot about the goings on inside of the White House or the stuff that happened and everything. The timing of these books dropping, you're dropping, Kamala's dropping, and then Joe Biden is dropping. When there is, as you know, historic dysfunction, SNAP benefits coming to an end, people being kidnapped off of our streets, just random killings in the ocean, boats full of people, and then trust us, they're drug dealers, all kinds of things. Is there a possibility, and do you understand the criticism or the critique that while all of that is going on, it seems like some people from the Biden administration are talking about themselves? Yeah. So I think political books are always going to be criticized. It doesn't matter when it falls, when it drops, which administration or how they're always going to be politicized. That's the way political books go. I do agree with you that there's so much happening right now in the moment that's scary. And that we should be focusing on and talking about. Right. I do totally agree with you on that. And we have to figure out
how do we elevate that more and how we talk about that more. And, we try to do that in interviews. At least I do try to do that in interviews, but it's hard because you've written a book about this. And so people want to focus on that, on what you laid out in the book that was controversial or different. But all political books are going to be criticized and ridiculed and looked over and, poked at. I mean, that's just, it doesn't matter if it's 4 years ago, 4 years from now, whatever it is, they're just different. They just hit differently. There are a lot of them. You are correct. I mean,
Right.
this past 2 weeks, it's insane the amount of books that are out there.
Last question for me.
Yeah.
I always think about how 20, 30 years from now are they going to look at this time? How are they going to write? What are they going to write about it? I don't know. I don't even know.
It's hard.
We're if we'll be a country.
Yeah, right. We're unprecedented times. Yeah.
There will be a movie. Who's playing you?
Oh my gosh. I've not thought about that.
When is the movie coming out? We're doing it right now.
I may not even be in this movie.
We're doing the movies in the next 3 years. Especially with the books coming out, there's a movie.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years from now?
So now.
3 years from now is Jamie Lawson.
Who's Jamie Lawson?
Pearline from Sinners.
Oh, great choice.
Don't do this with me. That's why I do.
Oh.
3 years from now.
That's a good choice. Though.
That's a
Maybe
very
you don't
good
want-
choice.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That movie was so good.
3 years from now, it's
See, you're already casting in your head.
It's easy.
You're really good about
Who
that.
is Joe Biden?
3 years from now, who is Joe Biden? But
and then Kamala.
See, here's the
Kamala
thing
Harris.
about Joe and Kamala. You really could get any of like the older guys to play Joe. You could go get any of the older guys to play. Kamala is more interesting.
Who are you thinking?
Kamala.
Well, she has a diverse background too, so you want to be respectful.
So you
to
can't.
that.
So the Kamala one is a little bit. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Kamala is a little bit more. Joe. I mean, I could have Jeff Bridges could play Joe.
You could put makeup.
right.
Yeah, and you could just put
makeup
makeup on him.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Kamala, I have to think about because there's not anyone that
sticks
jumps
out
to my head like
the only
right now.
the person that people Jennifer Beals. Do you remember Jennifer Beals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
I've seen
Flashdance?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen like that. But then
Black. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I'm not great with movies.
Because I've seen her dressed like her and I was like, oh wow, that's kind of crazy.
Maybe that's a little maybe we need to shade up just one shade. You know what I mean? Maybe we send Jennifer Beals to Singapore for a whole summer.
But then we have to
Shade
find like a young Kamala too, because I'm assuming that it'll be her life story.
Yeah. Last question for me is some useful information for our audience.
Oh, okay.
All right. You're standing in front of the press corps.
Oh, okay.
The world.
Yeah.
Right? Really. You got to deal with, Fox News and you got to deal with, I want to ask you actually one other question. Actually, before I get to the question about the advice, what's your opinion on the new media section? I don't know if you know this. So Karen Levin in her press secretary room, they have a new media section where it's like Tim Pool or Benny Johnson or somebody like that. And it's literally a choreographed question to where they stand up and they go, they literally stand up and they go, President Trump is by far the greatest leader that we've ever seen before in our lifetime. And we are seeing historic achievement from the Trump administration. Why do the Democrats suck so much and won't give our king credit?
Our king.
And then she just
Did
goes,
they say that,
thank
king?
you. They go, thank you very much for that question. Let's talk about how bad the left is. What do you think about that type of, there seems to be, I don't know, they're diluting the power of that room.
Yes. Well, that sounds like state TV. That's literally like, that sounds like, might as well North Korea, Russia, that's what that sounds like. And that's unfortunate if that's what's going on. Because I think there is something to be said. Like the medium is changing. We were just talking about that moments ago and trying to include different voices in the journalistic world, right? Because there are now all these independent journalists, it's just changing. There's social media. And so I think there's something to trying to figure out, okay, how do you bring those voices in the briefing room? We tried to do that with regional reporters. We did that once a week and they came in, they beamed in virtually, but they weren't dear leader reporters. They were like real reporters that would ask specific questions that mattered to their region or state. I think when you do something like that, what you just laid out, that's state TV. That's not democracy. That's lifting up what you want to be lifted up for on behalf of the president to make him feel good, right? It does nothing to what the American people need to know and how reporters need to report back to the American people. So that, to me, that's state TV. That's like dictatorship.
Now to the question. There's somebody somewhere right now that either has problems speaking in front of crowds or being in that place behind that podium with that type of power undergirding you, would be paralyzing to them. What are your tips for people on how to comport themselves in front of large audiences, how to talk when every single syllable that you say will be dissected? What's your process? What was your process?
I think for them, it's like practice, right? Practice, get people to ask you questions, kind of visualize, what the room is going to look like, what the experience might be. Maybe do small doses of like talking to reporters or talking in front of people, so that you get comfortable. But you got to practice. You got to like figure out, okay, how am I going to stand? How I'm going to use my hands? How I'm going to feel about being in front of an audience, and just really go deep into how you can make yourself better. And you have to learn, okay, all right, how do I speak? How do I need to better my speak? How do I need to better communicate? And it's a real evaluation of self and a real evaluation of presentation, and just really just studying yourself, learning yourself, capture yourself on video and see what that looks like. But there's a lot of work to it. Like in the past, I don't know if I can speak for this current press secretary, but nobody goes to the podium without being prepared. You got to be prepared. And sometimes it's like you're standing in front of people that you trust who are just asking you the hardest questions, and you're practicing and going back and forth with them. So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And if you put in the work, it'll be fine.
The book is independent. I promise you guys, if you read the book, you'll have a good time. I'm being for real.
Yeah, you'll have a good time.
You'll have a good, and you'll be incited a little bit. Yeah, it's good. Good to incite people a little bit. Good to trigger people a little bit to keep them on their toes. What's next? Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do?
Right from here?
TV.
We'll see.
TV show?
I don't know.
Fox
you tell
News?
me. Maybe. I don't know.
Newsmax?
What?
Thank you for joining us on Higher Learning. We really had a good time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Van. Thank you, Rachel.
Rachel, what are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was a great interview. I will say I walked into the interview feeling one way, and I came out of it with a better understanding. I still feel like, and I feel like we said this in the interview with her, right? The not now with the books, this is where we are, and as a society, this is what we want. But I will say I have a better understanding from after reading the book, from articles that I read. I wasn't quite sure. And I respect the fact with her coming in here and answering all the questions that we have, unlimited time. Yeah. Nothing off limits.
I don't know what everyone saw with President Biden when the cameras were. That's still tough for me to wrap my mind around.
You know what it is? It's because I think she acknowledges that what we saw, we could never move past. What I think she conflates is that she knew him for, like she said, she's known him since 2009. She's known him for so many years. She's been close to him. She's seen him in so many situations that we haven't, that she's doing kind of like that compared to all the other times, doesn't mean that that's the way that he is. I'm like comparing it to everything else, and he's really more this person than I've seen him be what you saw on the stage. And that's a problem. That's what I think is what happens. She's too close.
By the way, I would just like to point out that DEI joke that I made was made on Friday of last week. and you might have heard President Obama say the joke, but that I'm not biting off Obama now.
He
It's
did
facts.
say it first, guys. He did say it first. We'll give it to
we
you.
We left it in, although I wanted to take it. It's Obama, He's better than me. He's better.
It's a good joke.
Graham Platner, running for Senate from Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You into him?
I'm not into him.
Okay. Why?
Graham Platner has gone a bunch of different places. Went to Pod Save. My beloved Breaking Points. I saw him on there. But I have yet to see Graham Platner address his anti-blackness with black people. And the more interviews I see him do, the more sit-downs I see him do, the more it annoys me that he's not doing
Can
this.
I ask a question? I don't know of him saying anything anti-black other than the tip thing.
So what?
No. You said anti-blackness.
Do you think a Nazi tattoo is anti-black?
Not directly. I think it's anti-Semitic. I think it's okay, sure, but I just don't look when I think of that particularly. I think of more anti-Semitism than I think of anti-black. You're right, obviously.
Yeah.
Aryan nation, I get it.
The Nazis.
I get it. But I think the audience would say, "What else?" I'm truly wondering. Has he said anything specifically? We know that is one thing that he says. He absolutely should be doing black media. I agree with you, but you made a statement. I'm asking a question because I am not aware. So, what else has he done that's anti-black?
I would say
before we throw that out there.
I would say the tipping thing is one thing. Having a Nazi tattoo is another thing. But let's put those things in a bucket, right? On glance, I see Graham Platner. I like Graham Platner. The politics, something that I align with. The entire image is something that I align with. But I will say something. The centrist Democrats, the ones that we so often criticize, they do have to exist connected to black people in a very specific way. Because there is an understanding of the voting bloc that black Americans, particularly black women, make up for them. So there's a direct way that they have to, at least in some way, show up for black people. Now, I'm not saying in any way, guys, before you get that the Democrats have been like some type of fighter. I'm not saying that at all, okay? What I'm telling you is that if there is a Democrat who has said obviously anti-black things, then they are going to have to deal with the CBC. They're going to have to deal with the black intelligentsia that exists inside of that wing of the Democratic Party in a very direct way. Sometimes on the left, because there is a shredding of identity politics. When I mean the left, not the centrist left. There's a shredding of identity politics that exists there that seeks to establish a cohort of working people and a diverse coalition. They want to get away from identity politics and they want to focus on other things and things that they believe help all people. There's sometimes in that is a betrayal to me of the actuality of black existence in America. I don't know that it's a purposeful betrayal, but maybe it is. Sometimes there is talk and there is action to me that seeks to overlook some of the ways that black people need to feel safe, some of the ways that black people need to deal in order to be at the political table with you. Some things that we need, right? And I see this happening with Graham Platner. I see it happening. I see it happening with him. I see him getting a soft bed to land on for some things that are concerning.
I agree with that.
And I'm not saying that people need to kick his fucking nuts in. But what I'm saying is if we are going to be in coalition with him, then what is the point of him not talking to black people?
He should.
He should be. I see him explaining what he meant with the tipping thing or the tattoo to white people. I see him explaining that to them But the fact that there doesn't seem to be, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're getting around to it, but the fact that there doesn't even seem to be the need to speak to Black people about that, the fact that there's not the will to do it, is starting to get on my fucking nerves. Like, it's starting to bother me. Like, the more interviews I see him doing, where I see him talking to people, I see the relevant questions being asked, I see the Breaking Points was, I love the show. Breaking Points was particularly good in that they went into his career as a military contractor. It's like everybody's trying to make sure he's not the next Fetterman and all of that stuff. Everybody's trying to make sure that they don't put him in a position where he becomes a senator from the state of Maine, and then all of a sudden, a year and a half, we're like, what the fuck happened? All of that's cool. All of that's cool. But there are things that we have to do, even within coalitions, to make sure that we can trust one another. And part of that comes when there is crisis. And him having a situation, a crisis, a scandal, whatever you want to call it, where he's made anti-Black, anti-Jewish, anti-American statements to me and done things like that with the tattoo, all the explanations being what they are, the gesture, the move of actually being in conversation with somebody Black to have that talk is meaningful.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not happening is also meaningful, at least from what I've seen.
I agree with you.
And so it's like, to me, it almost means more that you don't do it. And
so that also feeds into your anti-Blackness.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
okay,
the question I had.
It's like, okay, cool. The tipping situation, you had that conversation with the Pod Save America bros about it. Like, don't you need to go have that conversation at the Breakfast Club? Don't you need to go have that conversation with, like, don't you need to go have that conversation somewhere where Black people watch and trust the platform?
Do you feel like, and this, I'm playing into you saying anti-Black, do you feel like the reason that you also feel like he's anti-Black is because maybe he is not playing into having those conversations with Black people because Black people aren't as represented in the state of Maine?
I mean, maybe, because we talked about the Madden thing. But at the same time,
I'm not saying that's right.
He's going to be a senator.
Correct.
And he's trying to become a senator. So he has his constituents in Maine to consider. But also, there are going to be things that he's going to be voting on.
Yeah, yep.
And pushing forward that are going to affect Black people all over the country. And particularly Black people that consider themselves to be a little bit left of center. I am the center of the left. So I am left of
progressive,
the Democrats, but I am not, because I know some people that hit me up and their ideas, they on the capital L left. Their ideas is, I'm like, yo, man, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the people, right? And I feel like I'm being pulled towards them every single day, being radicalized.
What do you think I am?
You're a good old-fashioned Texas Democrat, man. You're a good old-fashioned Texas Democrat. But we have very similar. We're joking. But I'm saying, in this situation here, stop the bullshit and get it done.
I'll agree. Like, just curious about,
Yeah, stop the bullshit and get it done. Look, I get everybody is not that important. All that. Just like, at this point, it's starting to get annoying. So as I see him popping up, I'm like, go talk to somebody. We're gonna go, but I want to play something here.
See,
I have to do it. I don't have to be where I'm at till 12:30. I got plenty of time. I want to play something here, and let me tell you why I'm playing this. I'm about to play, and you guys, just letting you know, the podcast right now is effectively over. What you're going to hear now is the account of a man who is talking on a stage about something that he went through. Moth Stories is a group or organization where people get up there and they tell personal stories.
Okay.
They posted something on their Instagram, and it was the account of a comedian named Anthony Griffith. And I had never heard of him.
I haven't either.
And I saw him talking about something. I don't know why I clicked on the video, but I saw him talking about something very personal that happened to him or something that he went through, a time in his life, it's very personal, happened to him when he first came out to LA from Chicago to be a comedian. And he got his big break, and that big break was being on The Tonight Show. And there was something else going on in his life at the time. He was dealing with a cancer diagnosis that his daughter had, 2-year-old daughter. This 7 or so minutes, it's not concise, but this 7 or so minutes encompasses everything that I think, everything that's wrapped up into my view of wanting people to be happy and healthy and wanting to help people. In this is a talk about healthcare and what it costs Americans. In this is a talk about manhood, masculinity, and what it means to feel the need to show up at times when you're completely broken. Blackness is talked about here and how you approach therapy. But more than any of that, just the brutality of humanity and what I care about and what I think that we should all care about in terms of the way that we show up for each other. I've heard speeches from Obama, speeches from Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know that I've ever been as moved as what I was when I watched this. Donnie, play it for Rachel right now.
Charles Dickens' classic Tale of Two Cities starts off with the phrase, "It was the best of times and it was the worst of times." In 1990, I moved from Chicago with my family to LA to seek my fame and fortune. And in a couple of weeks of being there, I got 2 important phone calls. One was from the talent coordinator for The Tonight Show, offering me to have a spot as a comedian on The Tonight Show. And the second call was that my daughter's doctor had called up to say that her cancer had resurfaced. A year prior, she was diagnosed with cancer, and we fought it, and it went into remission, and now it's back. And for that next year, my life was pretty surreal because it's like 2 different personalities. During the day, in order to keep my daughter at home with me, I would have to learn CPR and how to work a heart monitor and administer medicine, all these technical terms, and take her back and forth, to get her platelets and blood and check up on her. And at night, I would go from club to club with the talent coordinator, and I would work on my set and try to perfect it. And I would meet veterans like George Wallace and Seinfeld and Roseanne. And I thought that everything was great because we had beat the cancer before we could beat it again. And this was the first time that I was going to be in front of millions of people on The Tonight Show. And the first time on The Tonight Show, I was extremely nervous. All I could think about while I was backstage being introduced was, don't mess up. Just don't mess up. Whatever you do, don't mess up. And the curtains open, and there's 600 people, and the cameras, and Johnny's over there, and the band is over there. And I don't know what I said for the next 6 minutes, but I got 6 applause breaks. And the great part of that night was that I was going to my car, and I met Johnny, who was going to his car. And it was just a private moment between us in the parking lot of him saying, "You were very funny. You're extremely funny. Start working on your second Tonight Show, because I want you back." By the time I got the official call for my second Tonight Show, my daughter was admitted to the hospital. If you don't know about cancer, when it comes back hard. It's like beating up a gangbanger for the first time, and then it's coming back, and he's coming back meaner and stronger, and he's coming with his friends. So in order to compensate for that, you have to raise the chemo, and you have to raise the medicine, and you have to raise the radiation, which is difficult for an adult, but she was only 2. So she's bald, which she doesn't mind because every kid in the ward is bald. And she thinks this is a part of life. and she can't keep her food down. And you're not prepared for this. There's no books. There's no home ed class to teach you how to deal with this. And you can't go to a therapist because in the black world, a therapist is taboo. It's reserved for rich white people. So you're trying to figure it out. What did I do? Maybe it's something I did. Maybe it's something my wife did. Maybe my doctor diagnosed it erroneously, something. But at night, I still have to be a comic. I have to work on the Tonight Show because that's what I'm going to do. I'm a clown. I'm a clown whose medical bills are raising, who's one step from being evicted, who's one step from getting his car repoed, and I have to come out and make you laugh because no one wants to hear the clown in pain because that's not funny. And my humor is becoming dark, and it's biting, and it's becoming hateful. And the talent coordinator is seeing that there's a problem because the NBC is all about nice and just everything is going to be okay. And we're starting to buck horns because he wants everything light, and I want to be honest and tell life. And I'm hurting, and I want everybody else to hurt. Because somebody is to blame for this. So I buck up and I suppress my anger and I form and develop a nice, cute routine for the second Tonight Show. And I get applause breaks and I get asked to come back for a third time. And I'm perfecting my third set. And the doctor asked me to come in. And I know something's wrong because even the doctor is crying. And doctors don't cry. And he said that we've done all we can. There's nothing else for us to do. And I said, how much time does she have? And he said, at the most, 6 weeks. And I should plan for that. And I'm thinking, how do I plan for that? I haven't planned to buy her first bicycle. I haven't planned to walk her to school. I haven't planned to take pictures of her on her prom. I haven't planned to walk her down the aisle to get married. How am I going to plan to buy her a dress to be buried in? And I'm trying to keep it together because I'm the man and I'm the man of the house and I don't want to cry when it's coming. And I'm trying to tell myself, Tony, I'm trying to beg the world, just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. Just let me take a breath. Just stop just for a minute. I want to call my parents and tell them, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I'm a grown man and I don't know what to do. And a voice in me comes up like Denzel from Training Day. Man up, nigga! You think you're the only one losing kids today? 25 kids walked in here with cancer, only 5 walking out. This ain't no sitcom. It don't wrap up all nice and tight in 30 minutes. This is life. Welcome to the real world. And he was right. So I bucked up because that's what I'm supposed to do. And on my third Tonight Show, by that time my daughter had died. And I had 6 applause breaks that night. No one knew I was mourning. No one knew that I could care less about the Tonight Show or Johnny Carson. In 1990, I had 3 appearances with the legendary Johnny Carson and a total of 14 applause breaks. And I would have given it all if I could just have one more day sharing a bag of French fries with my daughter. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Thank you.
What was that for? What was the story? Why was he telling that story?
He was telling the story. It was his testimony.
No, I'm saying what was the
I mean, I'm not sure. This took place in obviously, I'm not sure when exactly he told that story, but I saw it on the Moth Stories account. It's okay to cry, everybody. It's very, but when we are trying to ask each other to just consider what people are going through, that is what we're asking for. If you are casted as a bleeding heart or as somebody who, whatever, that not as grand but that's humanity. And just try, if you can, to consider the other person.
Beautifully said.
Take your thinking caps off and do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel Lynn Lindsay. Bye, guys.
You fucked up your makeup.
Do I have makeup on?
Oh, you're not even wearing it. Oh, shit. Fresh face.
Mascara. I don't have makeup on.